Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the NLG Show. It is Thursday night. It is a beautiful night for game talk. Of course, not here if you're in Maryland. If you're in Maryland, it is crappy and rainy and stormy, but otherwise, it's great night. What's going on, gentlemen? How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Yeah, very good.
Excellent.
We were kind of light on topics.
I think, yeah. Well, there's just nothing to talk about today, is there? No. So nothing happened in the world of gaming today at all. Nothing at all.
That's after a week hiatus.
Yeah. Well, people wanted to watch fireworks and stuff like that, and who's gonna want to watch a podcast on 4th of July? So welcome everybody. It's great to have you. We have a great show for you tonight, and we have a fantastic special guest who going to introduce. He is over on the far left of your screen, or far right of mine. He is from the great TXR podcasts, which you can find on Monday nights. He's got an awesome avatar, which reminds me of the good old days. Mr. Invader Gaming. What's up, man?
Hey, fellas. Thanks for having me on here. It's greatly appreciated. I love being on Next Level Gaming. I love being on here. I love listening to your content. You guys, you talk about some really interesting topics and have some pretty cool guests on as well. And I am just really enthusiastic to be in here. And I can't wait for everybody to start piling in the chat and just hearing on the conversations that we're about to have, because we got some pretty cool topics. And yeah, let's get this party rolling.
Yes, sir. And well, that's it. Good night, everybody. Yeah. That's actually, we're going to use that as our advertising bumper from here on out. That's awesome.
I like that. Right.
Man, you have that nice radio voice, man. Has anybody ever told you that? You've got this great radio voice. And that's one of the reasons I love to watch TXR, man. It's just because we need a camera, just your voice.
So funny. No, you know what? It's funny you mention that, because I've heard that throughout my adult life. Oh, hey, you'd be great for radio, or you should be doing the weather on the radio, because you have that soothing voice. It's sure, some thunderstorms might be rolling in, but dang, just hearing your voice, it's so calming. No word of a lie, I've heard that.
Cloudy with a chance of meatballs.
Right.
It must be a Canadian thing, because Nuke Nukem was also from Canada. He's got a great radio voice. Of course, he used to do radio before, so
that's true. Noof has a history with that, and Noof, he has a gift for gab, and just he's blessed with a really good voice as well. And coincidentally, we're Canadian. Well, he's from one end, I'm in another. So, but great fella there, and former Game Dosage podcast member as well. And I'm very blessed to know him. And thank you guys for your compliments.
Yeah, well, I've done a little Halo gaming with him, so he's a good dude. He's a good dude. So TXR is on vacation.
Yeah, that's correct. It's on a bit of a hiatus right now, summer hiatus. Tim Dog there, he's on vacation at the moment as well. I think he's somewhere south of them. I can't remember off the top of my head. And guys are just taking it easy. People go on vacations this time of year, just normal thing. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks too. Just getting some things reset and a few surprises as well. So we'll definitely be back soon before you know it.
Oh, we love surprises.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, keep us in the loop so we know what's going on. And you're coming back to Monday nights, right?
That's not in the cards. We're still gonna stick to our Sundays.
Sunday. I'm sorry. Sunday nights. Sorry. I thought you, for whatever just because it used to be Monday, then you came back on Sundays, and then you missed a couple. And when you miss a couple, I sometimes it's hard to, we did it too. We moved around 3 days, and then people are going, "What? I keep trying to find you on Sunday, and where are you?" And dude, we moved to Fridays a month ago. What? So yeah, it happens to all of us. So
and here we are on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Right.
No, on Thursday. Well, I think again, right? Weren't we on?
Well, there's a few different podcasts that have been shifting around too, but recently. But yeah, I know we're sticking to our. As far as I know, we're sticking to our Sundays. Okay. So definitely in a few weeks, be there. Yeah,
we'll do. And I'm glad we moved off of Sunday then. Oh my goodness! All right, so gentlemen, what's been on the docket this week for you gaming wise? It's been a little rough for me, but. Invader, what have you been chomping on?
Well, for the past 2 weeks or so, I've been playing the mystery horror game, The Sinking City.
Ooh.
Yeah, 1920. It's interesting. Definitely, it's very heavy. Like it's a very mature game. Like I said, mystery horror set in the 1920s, and you do a lot of sleuthing. You're a detective, and you go around this city. It's been totally flooded and decimated by water. Some parts of it are total slums because of that. And yeah, you're just trying to figure out what the heck is going on in this place, this fictional city on the East Coast. And a lot of weird stuff going on in there. But it's very interesting, pretty weird at times, and I've had there's been some weird, technical glitches in the game, but otherwise, it's a very interesting game to say the least, especially with some of the choices that you make throughout it.
Okay. Nice. And has that been your bailiwick this week?
Yeah, I've been replaying a couple of missions, going through some save files there. I did beat it, and I do plan on having a review for that in the coming days, is when I get some time to focus on that. But otherwise, I've been going between a few games. Let's see what else. I've been playing a lot of this free-to-play game on Xbox, World of Warships Legends. I have a lot of fun with that game. Very simple, to the point. I just, I like blowing up ships. What can I say? What else?
I wanted to get into that. Have you? So, give me the 30 seconds on that game, because I did play a lot of World of Tanks, and I wasn't sure what the difference was. I mean, obviously warships, but I mean, you know what I mean.
Well, they'll give you there's a couple of base options depending on what country you want to do, and then because they have a couple of countries right now, like U.S., Britain, Japan. They just got the Germans in there, and you get to play through a lot of these classic World War ships, like destroyers, battleships, and so on, and going through you earn so much experience, so many in-game credits. Then you can advance to more powerful ships and so on, more powerful destroyers, and you can arm them with more powerful cannons or torpedoes or armor, or to make them a little faster. And you just go through different matches, typical team deathmatch kind of matches, or capture the base kinds of things. But just very straight to the point, but very fun. A lot of fun, and I would assume very similar to World of Tanks too, although I haven't played a lot of that, to be honest. But it probably has the same kind of feeling, I would imagine.
It does. But of course, just with tanks. but it's fun. I mean, it's a fun game. I love getting into that once in a while. And sometimes it's great to just pop it in and run for a bit. So
yeah, it's true. And you know what? Probably after this, I got invited to the Bleeding Edge technical alpha, so I definitely want to give that a shot after we're done here. So that'd be cool.
Oh, I gotta get into that. I gotta sneak my way into that. Are you getting into the Gears 5 tech test?
I will, because it's available to either people who pre-order or have Game Pass, right?
Right.
Yeah, I have Game Pass, so I'm definitely gonna give that a go. I'm not sure how long it goes for, that beta, but I'll definitely give it a shot.
That goes from the 17th to the 19th.
Okay.
So actually, according to what they said, it's let's see, starting July 17th, Game Pass subscribers and pre-order customers can do it. Tech test will then be available to. So you can download it on this. You can preload it on the 17th. Play it from July 19th through 21st, and then the 26th through 29th. So it looks like the coming 2 weekends.
All right.
So.
All right. Very good. Get some you gotta get different time slots, and not everybody's gonna be able to get into that, right?
Yeah. Well, at least it's not like when Sea of Thieves did it. You had to go by their time zone. So it was always like 11 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. I'm like, I'm working.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was interesting. Yeah.
Same thing with this early quest where you had to set your alarm in order to
4 in the morning.
Participate. Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've done it with one of them. I forgot what it was, but I had to join some randoms, and I don't know. We just made it with a minute to spare. I forgot what event it was, but it was like early on. Crazy.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was pretty crazy. Wow.
Yeah. But Peter that's why he's a pirate legend and I'm not. Because he sets his alarm for this stuff.
Yeah, well, I only did it once though.
He pops out of bed at 4:30 in the morning. I've got a quest.
No, I think it was like, I forgot what it was. I think it started at like maybe 1 a.m. to like.
I think it did. I wonder if I was there with you and Nate.
3. I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I played late, and I
that.
slept for an hour. Set the alarm, got back up, did that quest. Then the family came downstairs. I was like, did you go to bed?
Well,
technically not, but I slept for an hour.
Right. I just fell asleep in the chair for a minute.
Gonna do that again though.
Is that drool? No. It's just kind of
Yeah.
I just kind of spilled some water, but there's no water there. Hey, what's that over there?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. So, Peter, what have you been up to this week?
Let's see. I mean, I forced myself to play. Now that sounds like I didn't want to play it, but work has been crazy. But after like 3 weeks of long hours, I thought, F it. I need to get some gaming in. I need to keep myself sane. So, played some Forza Horizon, the Lego DLC. So much fun. So much fun. I wish you could build some stuff though. Like your house, for instance. I wish you could get the blocks and you could just arrange it yourself. But it's like, oh, here you go, another part of your house. And that's kind of it.
Be cool if you could build your own card too.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool too.
Yeah.
Where you have your,
There's a lot of potential with that.
There's a lot of potential. Could have been a standalone game if they
See, and that's what I thought about the Hot Wheels expansion for Forza Horizon 3 too, which is why
that too, yeah.
Which is why I wasn't concerned.
But I mean, just the track itself. I mean, it's just a lot of fun to race around down there. And let's see, what else did I play? Oh, some Sea of Thieves, of course. It's always nice to relax on the boat. That's pretty much it.
You don't have a real boat.
I don't have a real boat.
Oh, well, yeah, awesome, man. So, what about you, Chris? What have you been up to this week?
Not much. After coming back from vacation, I took Monday off, so I took a little bit extra day, but a little bit of Spider-Man, and then I picked up Stranger Things 3, the game. It goes along with the series, season 3. So it's been fun. It's an interesting game. It's funny because if you follow the series, you'll get the game. So
yeah, I haven't watched it at all.
I'm sorry.
Me neither. So I have no idea what it is about.
Hey, me 3. So you're in good company.
I don't do these trend shows. Like everybody.
I refuse. I resist and refuse.
Well. What I can say about it, because it goes along with our age group.
I know.
It's set in the 80s, and It's just great. If you love the 80s, you know.
Plus, any new show I watch will be canceled.
Yeah.
Not this one. Not this one.
Yeah, I gave up. I don't know. It's
Disney doesn't own this one.
I don't know. It's like it's like people that can't understand why I've never watched an episode of Game of Thrones.
Thank you.
So
I can't understand it either.
Me too, because people are like, "Oh, what do you mean? Like this sounds like it'd be up your alley. You like fantasy stuff." I'm like, "Well, yeah, if it catches my eye, but like I no, but like I don't, it just that's the whole thing, right? If it catches your eye, like any game out there, it's like, well, to be honest, I don't really watch a whole lot of TV or just shows for that matter anymore. Like I'm more of like a movie guy than a TV show guy. So
yeah, same here. And for shows and other stuff, I play a game. It's an interactive show, movie.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely more like a movie to me than a show, I would think. Unless it's episodic.
right.
Every day is a new episode of Sea of Thieves.
That's true.
That is true.
That
Only
is
if you
true.
got imagination. Some people
Alright,
need
who
their head
will,
held.
Yeah.
Who will get drunk off the grog and fall off the boat first? Who will it be?
Right.
Find out on the next exciting episode of Sea of Thieves.
But those tall tales they have, those are great.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it would have been great if that was there in the beginning, but
I still
it's here now.
I
So
gotta play those still. Oh.
I played the first one and never did I started doing the second one and then didn't.
yeah.
So, by the way, you need to
Shout out to Siberia. If you want to do an invader or Mike, Siberia is the guy to go. He's your guide.
This is true. Monkey Island. Andy said Monkey Island. That is excellent.
Monkey Island.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
That goes back.
It does. It reminds me of I told the story coming back from Too Many Games, the Too Many Games Expo a couple weeks ago. There was a guy. There was a panel there of these guys, the Renegade guys, the Renegade game or something like that, and they do a game show called Throne Controllers. And one of the folks who was a contestant that they picked from our audience had to tell you what the picture like somebody threw up a screenshot and they had to tell what game the screenshot was. And as soon as it came up, I'm like yelling into my sleep, Monkey Island, say Monkey Island. The guy's like, I don't know, Zelda. I'm like, no.
Zelda.
Yeah, the guy was next to my son, man. If they had just picked me, I could have won the Pokemon Switch, because that was just, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So anyway, that reminded me of that, how stupid that guy was. Anyhow.
Hey, but he was smart enough to go to the convention, though, right?
This is true. He probably was smart enough not to ever have gone to the Coleco Expo. So I'll give him that.
I remember a few years ago, I was at Fan Expo in Toronto, and there's always like a big Ubisoft presence there, and right by the Ubisoft there was like an EB Games, a little EB Games store, GameStop, whatever that they had, their little kiosk, and they were giving away the special edition for like some Ghost Recon game, and everybody wanted it. And they're like, "What's the highest selling Ubisoft game of all time?" And people were listing off like Assassin's Creed or other titles. And I'm just like, guys, it's like right in front of you, this game that's like, being shown off. And I'm like, Just Dance, and people just like look at me, and then they're like, you got it. And then, yeah. So that was interesting. I know exactly what you mean, though. It's always interesting when like people like say everything else but, so good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, what were you playing, Chris, other than Stranger Things?
A little bit of Spider-Man.
All right, Spider-Man. That's right.
How do you
So
like
how
it
far?
now?
Yeah, how are you liking it?
No, I'm enjoying it. I've just been going around taking care of Kingpin guys. You know how they have to have them spread out and unlocking all the not towers. They're kind of like towers, but the radar deals or whatever.
Right.
So I pretty much have the whole map unlocked. So,
Nice.
So I figured, okay, now I'll go from there.
Yeah, I got burnt out on the side missions, and then
I'm trying to.
It's like that kind of burned me out, so I haven't gone back to it to finish it up. I mean, the rest of the game is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. No, I think the story is great.
Yeah.
To follow along. So side missions are, I'll try to skip as much of that as I can.
They were a little annoying at times.
No, I still have not played it yet. There's a bunch of things I still haven't played.
Yeah.
The one thing I did finally finish was Metro Exodus.
Woohoo!
Almost didn't.
Nice.
That game almost killed me. I could not even. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it again if I tried, where I got stuck.
I'll give you credit for sticking with it, though.
Well, the only reason that I did was because Jeremy said, hey, you could start the chapter over. And I figured, well, maybe I could just, now I know what to do. I'll just blow my way through that part of the chapter and catch up. I lost a good hour and a half, but I ended up sticking with it. And it got better towards the end. I know a lot of people are really pining on this as like a Game of the Year candidate, but some of the issue I had with it, at least during the first part of it, was the story wasn't very coherent until the last third of the game to me. Like, I didn't understand what I was really doing until there came that point to where there was an actual personal connection to the game. That so I try to do this without spoiling it, because I don't know how many people haven't played Metro Exodus yet.
Still need to play it.
Yeah, so that's why I'm trying to. So
I played it and beat it.
Okay, so.
But I don't mind spoilers. I mean, it's.
Well, no, I'm not that. But I'm not that guy. So. They all die in the end. No, I'm not that guy. So, how did you feel about it, Invader? I like I said, I felt like I didn't really, like I was just going around shooting things and looting things until that last third of the game.
You know what? I didn't have that issue, to be honest with you. I felt my issue was, well, not so much an issue, but just getting adjusted to the environments that they gave you. I mean, okay, you did bring up the looting, and that is a big part of it. But yeah, they give you these, I don't want to say massive, it's not a massive open world, but they give you these sections of the world. And they are pretty big to like roam around and explore and do whatever you need to. So sometimes the focus can get lost, but I at the same time though, they give you some leeway with how you want to approach missions. There's missions that you can just leave, or certain side missions too. I don't know. I really didn't have an issue with it, to be honest with you. I don't know. I actually really enjoyed the game. It's definitely a lot different though, because of how they set the game up. It's a lot different than the first two games.
It
for
is.
Sure. Because I mean, this isn't exactly a spoiler, but for the most part, you're not in the Russian or the Moscow metro system.
Right.
So you're going from place to place to place, and there's a variety of locations. And that's a good thing, but also throws you off as well, because it's not that traditional, like, grimy underground setting.
Well, and if you remember, 2033 and Last Light were very tight corridor shooters. Very tight. There was very much point A to point B and beyond. I mean, there was not a lot of lateral movement in that game, and that's in my old age, maybe that's what I'm looking for. But I'm you know, I don't know, the open worldedness, which wasn't as, I mean, I didn't think it was totally open world. I think it's more like Tomb Raider and God of War type, where you can't just go anywhere you want.
No.
But
like open linear,
yeah,
like Uncharted.
Well, they give you sections. It's like, okay, you complete this section, then you move on to a different section, a different world setting, and so on. But these areas, these play spaces, if you want to call them that, they're big enough that you can, and you spend enough time in them that it's like you have these little open world-ish sections, but it's not completely. You can't just like go back to a location, for example. You're constantly, after a little while, you're gonna have to move on.
Right.
Is there crafting?
Yes.
As far as your weapons? Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that part was fantastic. And the weapons I thought were excellent. Especially when you start figuring out what the best usage for your accessories are. And what I did like was, because of the day-night cycle, you being able to stop where you are and swap out sights, for example. Things like that. The weapon system I thought was really well done, especially for not having unlimited ammo, or not. I mean, but not being able to just find ammo everywhere like a normal first-person shooter.
Absolutely. Yeah. I spent a lot of time. You really have to save your bullets, for example.
Yes. And
make them count. And that's one thing I can really appreciate about Metro is you're not just going to find like a whole like a huge ammo stash somewhere. You really have to pick your fights well, and you have to use that crafting system to your advantage, because a lot of the times, I would use that pellet gun, that pneumatic rifle, whatever it's called.
Yep.
And I would keep upgrading that too to make it more useful.
Yes.
Until
the crossbow came along.
Very true, and that crossbow is pretty awesome.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
And all the attachments you can find too. It's just like, it's pretty epic. Yeah. They have very satisfying weapons, and some of the creatures that you encounter too. There's some of them are very, very detailed.
Yes, and scary as crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did a lot of sleeping until daytime. There was an awful lot of that. I was not in the mood to. I was not trying to make that game Dying Light 2. So.
I haven't played that, but
neither. Well, it's not out yet.
Oh, I haven't. I just haven't played Dying Light. Period.
What? Oh my goodness! You gotta try that game. That game is fantastic.
All right, I'll have to delve into that at some point amongst my backlog.
That is a stinger recommendation right there.
All right. I'll have to, all right. It's going to be stinging in my head now.
Flattery will get you everywhere, sir.
All right. Hear that? Do you hear that, chat?
All right. So, by the way, Chris, you need to change the batteries in your clock or something, because that is now 9 minutes fast. It used to go off at 55 of, and now it was like 53 of, and I'm like, your clock is going fast, man.
Clock of the tune-up.
That's what's
driving extra fast.
Yeah, you need to adjust the timing chain.
It's still faster than a Slowmero.
Yeah.
You can't say that without Coop not being in the room. Where is he anyway?
See,
I told him. Like,
Camaro
what the heck
broke
are you?
Yeah.
Building Vader. Come on.
Yeah.
Show respect.
Where is Jeff? Where is everybody?
I know.
I'm a fellow Stan guy, so
Oh no.
He is.
So.
Why are you here, sir?
Yeah, that's why he brought you in. Aha.
Exactly. We both have good taste.
The truth has been revealed. The truth shall set you free.
I always think it's funny. I'm the same way with my clocks in the vehicle. I never mess with it. The clocks go back an hour or forward. And my wife, she gets in my vehicle and she just can't stand it. I'm like, nah, don't change it. Don't worry, it'll be back to the right time in next time change. So, and we were laughing about it the other night when the Mustang went off, and she's like, "Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right." And nope.
All right, so
Funny.
yes, so we ought to get to the things we were going to talk about tonight. Although this, I love when we get into Seinfeld mode. We just have no idea what's going on. Right. Okay.
So what's the deal with gaming?
Oh my god, I don't know. Okay, so let me get my thing out here. I'm just gonna get my thing out. Hang on. What the hell? All right, here we go.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Careful.
let's go throw it down on the table here. All right, so welcome to Nintendo Switch Lite Land. So Nintendo decided this week that it was going to stop fooling gamers into thinking it was a console, and come out with the true successor to the Nintendo DS. And here we go. It's Nintendo Switch Lite, coming out this September for the low price of $200. And as you can see, we don't really have to go through like 3D pictures or anything. You kind of see exactly the difference between this and a regular Switch. It is of course smaller. It is a tricolor. You can get the blue, coral blue, yellow, and gray. As you can see, the joysticks are now attached to the device, so there are no removable Joy-Cons, which means if you are up in your rooftop party and someone else wants to play, they are SOL unless they bring their own Joy-Cons. So there's that. And this was funny when
they have disposable. The whole thing is disposable because one of your Joy-Cons go bad. That's it.
That's it. The end. They did replace the D-pad buttons with a rocker D-pad, as you can see, and which was really funny in the video that the head designer that designed the Switch showed. He walked by a TV and said, "You can't plug this into a TV. There's no dock." So this is truly portable.
There's no dock, and it's not dockable.
There's no cable that goes to a TV. Nothing. Basically, this is straight up handheld. Nothing more.
To me, it kind of settles. Remember, there were whole discussions going on if the original Switch, if it was a console or not, right? It's console you can plug in.
That's right.
And my opinion was it's still a handheld that you could plug into your TV.
That's exactly it. It's a Vita.
And once again, this kind of proves that it really was.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I think we settled it.
Peter, we have to stop being right all the time.
Yeah, true.
But one of the things though that I did think was that kind of they were upfront about it, but I don't think people are talking as much about it. And I don't know how many games don't have a handheld mode, but he was clear that because there are no removable Joy-Cons, that games that required that or required the IR camera that was in the Joy-Cons, or multiplayer games would require a separate set of Joy-Cons. And then he said, check the website, the Nintendo website, to make sure of what games have a handheld mode that will work on this, which tells me that there are games that may not work on this device. So, yeah.
Well, one of these things was Labo Games or whatever
Oh, the label games won't work on this?
Label, yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, that's true. Also, 1-2 switch, I
Right.
believe as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
No more milking that cow.
Well, I think again. so what he said was, if you wanted to play 1-2 switch, you had to have a separate set of Joy-Cons.
Oh, so you could still sync those up, though.
You could still sync them up, but you need them in order to
Okay.
play. So, but still, you have to buy a second set of Joy-Cons if you just want to play.
Well, first of all, 1-2 switch should have been included in the OG Switch in the box, but
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, I want to say what's up to Doomhammer, and the reason I wanted to say it instead of type it in chat is because Doom is another World of Warships gamer. Always,
Yeah.
I was just going to say that.
yeah,
Always
he's a
showing
big one.
always showing off his cool stuff. So
Yeah.
big guy, big World of Warships guy.
Oh, nice. Very
We've
nice.
probably blown each other's ships up before.
It's
Never knew it.
possible.
Possible.
Gotta watch out for some of those cannons, man.
So
Oh.
got me thinking.
What?
I want to try it.
Well, hey, it's free to try, right? So
Yeah, what's right?
that's some nice incentive.
Free is cheap.
Well, not always. I tried playing Black Desert yesterday, and after about 10
And?
minutes, turned it off
Not
and
good?
said, "I have no idea what the hell I'm doing."
Well, Warship's pretty straightforward, but with the whole like Switch Lite thing, I don't know. Like, what do you guys think of the price? Because I mean, when I
I
compare,
mean, it's $100 less, right?
Yeah.
yeah, it's $100. So, I mean, okay, basically, it just doesn't include the docking station. Plus, it's a little smaller. I think the battery life is slightly better too, but only slightly from what I've heard.
Yeah. Still
But-
disappointing, yeah.
That's actually very disappointing to me because I think you want to take this out. Okay, the entire Switch is supposed to be portable. It's supposed to take it somewhere. This is just meant to be on the go nonstop.
Right.
The OG Switch, take it somewhere from one wall socket to the next.
Yeah. But I just, I was kind of hoping for, I know it's the Switch Lite. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I was hoping for a little more juice in this. But
Yeah.
I guess beggars can't be choosers, right?
Right. So it doesn't come with HD Rumble. That's not in there either. No IR motion camera, no dock, no so does not support output to a TV at all. It has a smaller screen too, by the way. So the Switch.
Yeah, I'm curious. How do you...
The Switch has a 6.2 inch touchscreen. The Switch Lite has a 5.5 inch touchscreen.
Are the pixels denser? Same amount of pixels, just denser?
well,
Or?
I
I believe it's the same, yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
think
720.
I believe he is right.
Oh, okay.
So the other thing, so you were just talking about battery life. So they claim the battery life of the Switch is approximately 2.5 to 6.5 hours. The Lite is approximately 3 to 7 hours. So not much different. Although it does say
Yeah, you should always take the lowest one. It's like gas mileage, My car gets 28 miles per gallon. When? When?
when I'm driving through that one long stretch of road in Iowa.
Yeah, it's going downhill with the wind in the back. But, yeah.
So I have not yet seen. I'm still looking for the number of compatible games. Are there any games?
It's probably easy to say which games are not compatible, I would think.
Well, it's games that don't have a handheld mode, so I don't know what those are.
Just Dance.
Well, the things, yeah, or the Joy-Con part of it,
Right. Well, let me look it up while we're Switch.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
Dance could be a big one, I don't know. I still think, like, without Kinect, it's kind of pointless. But,
Yes. Unless you're
Absolutely.
right. Use your phone. No. No.
Oh, what the heck? Only hands has to dance.
I'm interested in getting one of these. I think the price is pretty good. I think this will interest people. because you do. I'm sure they have the metrics, and they see a lot of people playing more handheld than docked, maybe. And but when's the last time they've done a updated 3DS or?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. So I think the success that the Switch has had, I think they were looking at doing something. Yeah. They were going to do a mini Switch.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have the same game that could work on both without doing anything. So,
all right, so
it's a good placement or successor, I should say, of the DS.
So, so according to a couple of places I'm reading, here's a couple of games that are not supported on this: Super Mario Party. First, we talked about 1-2 Switch. Peter, you brought up Just Dance. Fitness boxing.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure there's a couple more. So I have to assume.
You know what a big one is? I think
Labo.
It's
no.
It's Pinball 3DFX because you can put it in portrait mode. So you see the actual table, and then you use your Joy-Con separately, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, Project Jeff says he hasn't forgotten about us. He's in the middle of making a ham and turkey wrap, and then he'll be around. So,
well, wrap it up.
Wow, delicious!
Man, almost an hour here.
Right?
Yeah, cut the
gobble. There's the turkey goes.
Yeah, he's
still chasing it.
Gotta butcher the pig. Go slice it.
Right.
Bake the bread.
He had to go right. Bake bread.
Out of eggs, find that chicken.
Well, he's chasing the chicken around to get the turkey to get the.
Chicken chaser.
Yeah. He's got to He's got to actually have the pig grow up.
Sounds like Fable.
Right.
Now,
dude, Fable just to come to our show. Oh my goodness.
What would be cool is that we have a Switch here at the house, and my daughter plays it a lot, but she plays it more in handheld. But it is kind of big for her. So besides that, she's really been doing a lot of mobile gaming. There's a couple games she's been playing on mobile, and she's just like a pro at it. So I think the size of this would be more comfortable for her. I mean, even the regular Switch, I played that laying down.
Yes.
Like if I'm laying down on my back and I'm trying to play it up, I feel uncomfortable. But
quite a behemoth.
Yeah. So if this is a little bit more size up, like a mobile, it's going to do well. I think indie gamer, I think it's going to sell big.
Oh, of course it is.
Also, it's going to attract itself too. I mean, look at that.
Mobile gamers out there. Yeah. Small, probably fit in your pocket a little easier.
Yeah.
Now, something that caught my eyes, guys, because those are the 3 colors available, correct? Those are the only ones? The turquoise, yellow, and gray?
Yeah, probably.
I'm kind of surprised that they didn't have like a red or, maybe a couple others. Something.
I think they might be special editions, though.
Yeah.
Like a Mario something, the red one with a game packed in for $249.
There's the ones that there's the 3. Let me take a picture of this. There's the 3 that are regular, the 3 colors we're talking about now. But they do have a Pokemon one coming. So
that's gonna sell big.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So here, let me give a second. I'll show you that by the power of our podcast. Let's see.
I got the power.
Yeah, here we go. The only sad part is it takes a second. All right, so here is this is straight off the website. So there's a Pokemon Sword and Shield version. Now that's got some sweet etching on it, and I will say
that looks pretty.
That one actually looks really nice with the red and the blue attached.
That's interesting.
That one looks just whiter than the other ones, but I guess not. No, even the images above it are the same. It just look bigger than the other images that you showed.
Well, probably because the other images I showed were just smaller images. I mean, I could show one. It looks like it's the whole width of the screen. I mean,
yeah. See, that looks cool.
That one does.
It's gonna attract a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, and that etching on the back is really cool. And of course, it's Pokemon, who is going to,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's gonna be.
No, it's gonna go. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it is funny that somebody, HGK had kind of shared on Twitter that, if it's called a Switch, but there's nothing switchable about it. That was the whole point of the Switch. Switch from docking station to handheld.
Right.
And then you can switch the console, the joystick.
Oh no! Here, the joke is on Nintendo. They did the Switch.
They did, yeah.
Well,
you're switching from the Switch to the Lite.
I mean, it is light. I mean, it's true. I mean, it is a less beefier. There's no dock or anything. Well, the thing is, it's not like it's a next gen console or anything. It's still within the family of the console. Oh, yeah. Right?
It's kind of like Xbox.
Didn't get a slightly beefier CPU and stuff, or GPU?
They're working on that's the rumor.
Thing. Or is that the Pro?
I think they're working on something because there was talked about a long time ago. I mean, it was leaked forever ago about the Switch Lite, or it was supposed to be the Mini or whatever, but now it's a Lite, and that they were working on a beefier set of hardware to compete with the next gen consoles going forward. I mean, it probably wouldn't be as beefy, obviously, but just a little more, a little more power.
1080p. That's what I read somewhere. No, serious. I mean,
but didn't they change something in their? I forgot what it's called. Maybe their API, so games could overclock certain parts a little bit, so games would load faster. That was something. I forgot the specific.
100% sure, but I mean, they're getting games like The Witcher 3 to run on it, which hey, that's impressive for this this piece of kit right here, the Nintendo Switch. But I mean, it's running a little sluggish on the graphical side to say the least. So yeah, they could definitely do something there, to make the games look a lot better and for games to run better. But
well, and the fact
otherwise.
The fact they got Doom to run on it was also very impressive.
Oh, yeah. Some of those Bethesda games, I can't believe it. Like, what do they have? Wolfenstein on there, too. Yep. And, I mean, obviously, Doom Eternal, I think, is coming to it as well. Yeah. I mean, this system's been, surprising me nonstop. I own a Nintendo Switch as well. I have a few of the exclusives for that, and they have a lot of interesting indie titles too. If you go through their store, they have a lot of unique indie games that I just don't see on Xbox One. I can't say about PlayStation 4, but they have a lot of unique titles on there that you probably wouldn't see anywhere else.
I like those Nintendo Online games. Back to the olden days.
Yeah.
NES games.
Oh yes. Well,
those are the games that I play the most.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
No, I mean, it's true. They got some really quirky online titles there, and some, again, they have a unique, some really unique games that draw people to them. So, going back to the Lite, though, I could definitely see people picking this up for the price that it's at. If you're not, if you're just gonna be bringing this around with you, traveling or on your way to work or at work or
on your way to work. Well, I guess
say
on the bus.
Say you have two kids, I was fighting over the, over the Switch.
Train, on the bus, whatever.
But $100 more, you have two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I could say, it's definitely, it's a decent price. I mean, me personally, I was hoping for, some slightly better battery life and, some specs, but, what can you do, right?
Yeah, I know. So, by the way, the chat room's starting to heat up now. I think people are... People woke up and said, "Oh man, there's a show tonight. Invader's on." So here they are. Yeah. We got the chat room moving now. And these are all
their turkey wraps.
Yep. These are the good gamers, man. We're in good company tonight. And there's Jeff. There's Jeff, the ham and turkey man. So this is for you, Peter. This is the the FCC request that they made to change the original model there. So I got a little creative in my Google searching. So so basically they want to change the chip, change the memory type, and the CPU board. So what that means, now that doesn't look like that's going to be the new, if they're doing a Switch Pro, but that could be what they're doing to upgrade. Maybe do like the Xbox S kind of upgrade.
Yeah.
So there we have it. This is the lovely Nintendo Switch Lite. So chat room, who's getting one? We want to hear from you guys. Who's actually going to get one of these things? You do not need to super chat. We'll just tell people who they are. So,
I
do you think you're gonna ship a lot, or do you think you're gonna be like, people lining up?
I hope they don't do that
for opening hours. Yeah, it's Nintendo, so
you're gonna do the NES Mini, and only a limited number, and then come back for Black Friday.
They did the same thing with those figurines too. What are they called?
Oh, the Amiibos.
Yeah, the Amiibos too.
Yeah.
Like, suddenly, we don't have enough stock of these.
Yeah.
Coincidence?
I mean, if that happens just once in a blue moon, okay, but not,
every single console they sell.
Every single thing they sell.
Yeah, Nintendo. Yeah, unfortunately, Nintendo been a little shady that way, but
it's not like it's illegal. It's just shady.
Yeah.
Yeah. A good way to drive the revenue. Gotta love Nintendo for that sometimes. Oh,
Man, they march to the beat of their own drummer. And
they got the best resale value out there.
Right now, it's working. Whatever they're doing is working because they're lighting it up. They are lighting it up.
Absolutely.
And this holiday season is going to be crazy.
Well, what's great is that Nintendo does Nintendo, and so if you want something different from PC, Xbox, PlayStation, change of pace, Nintendo provides that. So, and that's what I like about it.
Are there any games that you guys are interested in within the next year coming from Nintendo?
Me personally, not really.
I'm not really into the Pokemon. What's the other big game that's coming out this year?
Is Animal Crossing coming out this year, or is that next year?
March.
Delayed. Yeah.
They got a couple. They got a mech game coming out in September, Daemon X Machina, which looks pretty cool. I mean, I like my mech games, so that caught my eye. And supposedly Luigi's Mansion 3 is supposed to be coming out sometime.
That one, yeah, I could see myself getting that one.
Like, I am pumped for that.
My daughter loves Odyssey. She loves the Mario games. So
Luigi's Mansion has done very well for itself. I mean, it's a different kind of game, and that has really it's been like a quiet staple game for them. It really has. I mean, they've done well with it.
Now, Dirty J said Bayonetta 3 for him.
Yeah, but we don't even know when. Like, I mean, yes.
Mega Man.
Right,
I would be interested in Mega Man Prime.
Oh, and how could I forget the Banjo-Kazooie DLC for Smash?
Oh, yes.
There you go.
Yes. Can't even get a Banjo-Kazooie game for the Xbox, and we're getting DLC for the Switch.
Oh, don't get me started there. I mean, hey, I love it. I that they actually, that Nintendo and Microsoft. Microsoft was playing nice, for crying out loud there.
Absolutely.
But a tie-in like HD remake, like a complete revamp of the original, or a Banjo-Kazooie,
I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, we see Battletoads coming out, so
yeah, Battletoads but that looks like a new game though, and that's not a remake. And to be fair, they did 4K upgrade the rare replay stuff. So
they did. They did, yeah.
Yeah.
I popped in Banjo-Kazooie last night, and I forgot that I don't know where I'm at in it, so I didn't play it for very long. But I'm going to pop in, like, Conquer and stuff like that and see how it looks. And, but so this kind of is funny. This sort of bleeds into kind of the meat of what we were going to talk about tonight, which should interest our chat room greatly. And that's, where is everybody going? It seems to me that for someone who has been around the block watching all the big three get through, let's say, the last 3 console generations, or we can't, if you want to call it generations now, whatever. The world today is not the world we saw from these folks 20, 15 years ago. When the Xbox came out, 2000, when the Xbox 360 and the Xbox PS2 and GameCube, the Xbox 360, PS3, and Wii, and then now with where we are with the Xbox One, PS4, and beyond. It seems like if you look at where everybody is now, it is a vastly different landscape for each of them as where they were leading up to this. And so this has caused a lot of discussion around the gaming industry, and things like this, like Microsoft working with Nintendo on things, cross-play with them with all of their games, that Minecraft and Rocket League and stuff like that, and we're seeing 3 companies with 3 very different messages now, and they're all seemingly now shooting for not only different audiences, but different audiences than they shot for previously. And so that has, like I said, it's caused a lot of conversation, good, bad, and indifferent. So I know this was this has kind of set social media kind of on fire, and it's caused a lot of, from the outside looking in, community fracturing. And so I want to dive into this with you guys and get more of a realistic take. And I know Chris, this is a little close to home for you. You've been very vocal about this. So let's start with, I want to start with Sony, because their whole mantra took a very 180 turn, in my opinion, coming into where they're going with their PS5 or whatever they're going to call their next gen system. And it started for me during their investor meeting. And I think it's funny because, the president of Sony came out and said that he thought gaming and PlayStation was a niche product. Gaming was a niche. And people kind of went, how could you say that? How could you say that? It's until Sony turned around and said, well, we're going after the hardcore market. At the beginning of the gen, Sony was very much about the other games. Microsoft had its base. It had Halo, Gears, Forza. We thought it had Fable. We don't know where Fable is. Fable's MIA. But Sony was all about, we love indies. Here are all these great other games you can play. And now that tide has shifted to where they said specifically, we're going after the hardcore. We want to continue to make, these big honkin' AAA single player God of War type games, and we want We want that hardcore audience. And they've kind of even, kind of threw indies to the side a little bit because they're really flocking to the Switch. They still do get some indie games on the PS4, but it's nothing like you saw at the beginning. But they've made a very about face as to what market they want to go at. And I want to get your guys' take on that and where that leaves them. Does that leave them in a position to continue to lead the industry? And where do they go? Where do they go from here, knowing that they also want to get back to tying up timed exclusives and stuff like that? So all the things we've heard from Sony since then.
Well, I mean, it's a very heavy hitting question, right? I mean, you could approach this from different angles, but with Sony though coming out saying that they're not going to rely on indies as much, I mean, it kind of takes me back a bit considering they were so successful at the beginning of this gen courting the indies. They had so much good rapport with them, and now it's going to be like, well, I think a lot of indies might be hesitant, a lot of indie studios, about dealing with Sony if that's going to be how they're treating them going forward. And it just sounds like Sony's really really invested in their first party studios. I mean, for all we know, they could have a couple there's been rumors about them wanting to buy a couple of more studios to add to their first party stable. So, I mean, maybe they're just more invested in keeping things in-house and just securing more highly exclusive deals. I mean, obviously, hey, they don't mind getting exclusive content like you were alluding to. I mean, look at Destiny too. They had all kinds of Destiny DLC content exclusive for the majority of this gen.
Can you see that we get in a buying race between Sony and Microsoft? It's like, if I don't buy this studio, Microsoft might snatch him up, and then I'm missing out.
It's possible. I mean, yeah, if I'm Nintendo and Sony, and I have been seeing the past year that, okay, Microsoft bought studios like Compulsion or Exile, okay, whatever, but they bought Playground Games, a very high studio, all kinds of accolades with the racing games, the Forza games. You got Obsidian, who is just one of the most well-known RPG studios, Western RPG studios around. Mm-hmm. You have recently Double Fine, very quirky but very beloved studio, and so on. They're creating a studio to create who knows what they're creating, but they plan on going all out on whatever they're at the initiative, whatever they're creating. So, I mean, they're looking at this, what Microsoft's doing, and they have to counter in some way. I mean, hey, they're in the driver's seat, but going forward, content is definitely going to be king. They see Microsoft with the Game Pass initiative, and, they might want to counteract that going forward. I mean, they certainly have a pretty good change purse, not as much as Microsoft, but I could see them definitely picking up a couple of studios in response to this. What size? I don't know, but I could see them getting some friendly studios that they've been associated with this gen.
Yeah, like Blue Point, maybe, right? They don't. Blue Point's not a first party, even though they've done remasters for them, right?
That's correct. I could see something like, what are they called? That Resogun studio, is that Housemark?
Housemark.
Yeah.
I could see something like that. I don't think we've heard anything from them in a while, if I'm mistaken.
We have not, and that's something that I was curious about that. They did, Blue Point did the Uncharted collection, though. They did Shadow of the Colossus. They did the actually they did the Ico and Shadow of the Colossus collection too. They did the God of War collection. I mean, they've got a lot of tie. Housemark has a lot of tie. Now, this was shot down, but a lot of people thought they might make a run at Remedy. And Remedy. So it's funny because I'm going to use Remedy as to talk about Microsoft in a few minutes, but Remedy is one of those that really got cozy with Sony, and people thought, well, maybe they're going to go that way. And in fact, now that they purchased the Alan Wake publishing rights back, everybody's thinking that the next Alan Wake might be a PS5 exclusive. So there's a lot of that speculation going around. It's very difficult to to know who else is out there. But I do think there's something that you said that I definitely think is correct. And a question that Chris asked about is there going to be a buying race? I don't think they took notice until Double Fine. Like Double Fine kind of came out of nowhere. Everybody was thinking, oh, maybe they'll buy IO Interactive, to get the Hitman series, which would have been a great boon.
They should still do. Oh no, didn't they buy another studio though? IO, wasn't that something?
IO.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or they opened up another location or studio or something. So it's probably very unlikely.
Yeah, just like Remedy.
Unless they, they still have to sign on a dotted line. But it's like, here's the offer from Microsoft. Let's open up another studio.
The thing about what Microsoft has been doing is, like, when it comes to, I mean, not in all cases, but you look at Obsidian, you look at In Exile, and of course Double Fine. These are all like Kickstarter darlings, like the very successful crowd-funded projects and very reputable companies, but they needed the financial backing. They had some hard times, and actually, if you look at all their interactions with Microsoft, I don't know about In Exile, but Obsidian had a rough time with Microsoft originally.
Yeah.
Double Fine, I think, as well. They had a few deals with them, and then they're like, they weren't really too sure about them. And now they're like all buddy-buddy, and within Microsoft Studios, it's just funny how things come like full circle. And that way, but yeah, Double Fine was interesting, and Microsoft did buy the publishing rights to Psychonauts 2 as well, so they have that. But yeah, I would not be surprised if Sony bought one or two studios. I remember something popping up like a month or two ago on their studio page. There was like placeholders, but you couldn't see what was there. Like, people were thinking that it could be for a couple of studios that they bought, but they're hiding them. But I haven't heard anything about that recently. But yeah, I could definitely see them buying something like a couple of smaller studios.
Yeah, because I mean, overall, they have a well-rounded studio, first party already. It's been working for them, and. Plus, Sony has a great relationship with the Japanese developers out there, like for like they get Yakuza and certain games that only come to Sony. I mean, so does Sony really have to go out there and buy up studios when they've done a great job, getting exclusive from third party developers?
Yeah.
Anyways, so.
I mean, unless it is because what I said, they don't want Microsoft to, write them a check and buy some.
Guess it depends on the studio.
Yeah.
If they're worried about it, Microsoft might sweep them up. So.
The thing is, like everybody's been alluding to, is that Sony's in a good position. They already have like some really talented studios. They got some really interesting properties coming still. And their fan base seems pretty content. Xbox, Microsoft's game studios, like, they've had to put in the work at the tail end of this gen. They've had to buy the studios because, again, they haven't really had that much. They let go a couple of studios, they closed a couple, and they've been fine tuning. Like, there's been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes as well. Courting devs to yeah, because they know that content is king going forward, and that they needed to do better. They can't just rely on the same IPs, the same tried and true. They also need to start creating, which is what Sony's been doing.
Well, that's the thing, is they have been, and they've come out with some, some great titles in the last 3-4 years. I mean, we still extol the praises of Horizon Zero Dawn, which to date is the only game that I've platinumed. Those are, God of War was my game of the year last year. I mean, it was a special game, and I wasn't sure how the changeover from that isometric to an over-the-shoulder third-person game would go with God of War, and it was beautiful. I mean, and that's the thing that I think they have realized is their games sell. Their games sell almost. I think the only games that really stand up on par with them right now are the big hitters from Nintendo, because we're always seeing that and Rainbow Six Siege. But their games are making the rounds, and it seems like they're slowly getting away from the Gravity Rush games and the Ico type games that really haven't lit it up, and going for what they know, going for what they're, and they're building their new console around the ability to get these new games out there. They're going to expand again on Spider-Man. They're going to you're going to see, we've got The Last of Us 2 coming, Death Stranding. There's going to be more. There might be another Horizon Zero Dawn. They still kind of left that game open, didn't they, Peter?
Yes, they did.
So, that's where they're going. I'm curious where they're headed with streaming, because what they did say was they did want to strengthen their positioning with PlayStation Now. You guys know that they did start letting you download those games. But their issue still is price. Like, it's still way too expensive, and they don't have the proper, in my opinion, the proper PS4 library in there. Game Pass still runs circles around any other of the subscription services. I mean, I think that's a given.
Well, for ease of use and price, like those two right there, just do it. But it's also interesting too, the way, because aren't they starting to use the Microsoft Azure for their like online stuff now?
Well, no, not right this moment.
But that's the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're looking at it. They went into an agreement with Microsoft to explore the possibilities. Which is,
I'm just saying it was a big deal. So, or people made a big deal of it. So,
well, because it is a lot of, but again, it depends on who you listen to as well. I mean, when we talked about it, we talked about it from sort of the industry standpoint, what it means to the industry. Some people went the route of this is Sony, giving up on Gaikai. This is them, they're bowing down to Microsoft. And I'm thinking, no. Our opinion was they know they have to take on Stadia, just like Microsoft knows they have to take on Stadia, and they have to take on Amazon. And what better way than to, Microsoft doesn't care where they're getting their money from, so they have no problem selling the services to Sony, but at the same time, they both recognize that they compete in a certain part of the market, so that's not going to change. So where they go with PS Now will be interesting, because they need to drop the price. I would love to be able to get it because I love subscription services where nobody else seems to. I love subscription services. So if I could get a comparable service from PlayStation to what I get with Game Pass, for that, $10 a month, and I can get any of the PS4 first party games that I want, I'm down. I will subscribe to that immediately. I will be first in line to sign up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. That if Sony did that, that would that would definitely be huge, to say the least.
Yeah.
Save a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And they'd make a lot of money because
definitely.
They know some of the game, like I want to play The Last Guardian, but I'm not buying The Last Guardian.
Yeah.
So
right.
There's some VR stuff that I'd love to be able to play that I just don't have the money to buy. But if it was in a subscription that I could play when I wanted to, I would be great. That would be great. So the question is will they? And that's what they want to be more. They want to be more competitive with PS Now, but in order to do so, they've got to make that call.
Yeah. Well, you also need how do I put it? They also need to strengthen just the PlayStation Network, period. So.
Nah, they do. I agree with that. They need to.
But no, I mean, Sony's in a pretty good position though going into the next gen. But I mean, probably an interesting. Like, I find Nintendo and all this interesting though. Like, they're the ones that are like they're so successful, yet they're also outliers at the same time as well because they're doing stuff that's so different from Sony and Microsoft. They all have their different approaches, which is so interesting to this. Microsoft is kind of like going console PC route. Sony's VR and traditional console, and then you got Nintendo going from console to handheld.
Right.
I just find it all interesting.
Nintendo just doing Nintendo.
Right.
They don't do it like anybody else.
So,
no, I find right at the beginning of this, I just find like the state of console gaming period is very interesting at this point.
and people are trying to get ahead of that. They're trying to get. There's Super Cooper. There's our brother Coop. See there, look, right there, Invader. He said, damn, forgot what night it was. See? It happens.
Oh,
it happens.
He had to call an Uber because his Camaro broke down.
Apparently.
Poor guy. Real quick on Sony, definitely they got the studios down. They've done a great job with that. Coming out with some new IPs. And we're still getting a couple more games, plus Last of Us 2. Mm-hmm. So kind of close out the PS4 because they said all of that's going to be on the PS4. So, and that messaging, like Project Jeff said, or Indy said that the messaging that they said they came out about, they're gonna focus on the hardcore. Well, I mean, to me, it's nothing new. They've been doing that already. So I don't understand why what was the point in coming out with that? It's like, are they worried? What were they worried about? It's not like they were going to lose gamers. Was anybody in doubt that they weren't going to come out with, any more games from Naughty Dog and Guerrilla and, Ben Studio and I mean, so I think they're going to continue doing what they're doing. Like you guys said, we'll see what they're gonna have to eventually. They're gonna have to get in on the streaming because you can't just rely on the hardcore on the console. I mean, okay, they're selling 10 million or so on their first party games, right? But they have to look at the potential to reach gamers on mobile and PC with their big first party games. Because the market, that's just where it's going. The technology, that's where it's going. It's just like last gen. They had to adjust to online gaming. Xbox jumped ahead on that, and was very successful with that, the multiplayer, and so on. So now Xbox is jumping in on the streaming and online, to reach mobile and PC gamers in a big way, and bringing Game Pass and so on to bring their first party content. And Xbox is not going to sit there and, well, we're going to rely only on console, because you just can't. We've seen the numbers. That there's a potential 2 billion. I see my daughter. I have a friend at work. They love playing on mobile. I don't get it. I don't understand. The whole touchscreen gaming, that's just not for me. But but businesses, if you want to be around tomorrow, you have to think about the future generations, what do they like, and so they have to start heading that way. And that's just the way you look in the past. It's just the way it is. So but at least they're saying we're not giving up, and maybe that's why they came out and said we're for the hardcore. And even though the news came out about them looking into the streaming, the Azure, and so on, and so now you have people out there. Well, are they going to focus more on mobile and
Right.
So because
I don't know, because the remote play is one thing, but you got, again, this was both the president of Sony and Jim Ryan, who we all agree should probably never talk, but he does now because he's but he said, I mean, if you look at the game, and I'm reading a direct quote from him, this was in May. Mm-hmm. If you look at the game industry as a whole, the console market is not a major market, rather it's a niche market, if you will. But for core gamers, immersive experiences are something we would like to value. I'm not sure. I don't know that they care as much about putting out, an Uncharted game that you could play on mobile. I think that they're putting a lot of R&D and Mark Cerny brain power into the next console. I think they, I think if they're going to do anything streaming, they're going to do it off of that, like Microsoft, but they're going to be a lot more focused on the big heavy hitter games that are going to make them money.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I'm sure that other stuff is still in the background and work. I wouldn't be surprised that they do reveal. But they definitely need to also. I'm sure they're looking at Game Pass too. They need, like you said, they need to improve PSN to resemble Game Pass in price and features that it offers.
They do.
So,
they got their hand in a few things, like especially VR as well.
Mm-hmm.
They've been kind of cooling down about that, but I'm just speculating here. But I wouldn't be surprised if they came out with a whole bunch of new VR stuff, like when they officially, show off PlayStation 5, because they already said that they're working on a new VR headset, right?
They were
not mistaken.
They were not going to develop one specifically right now for the PS5. I think they're thinking that the current headset will come across. I'm double checking that now.
I do believe they said that the current headset will work on a PS5.
Yeah, they did.
Which is good. That's great. I love the whole forwards compatible thing. That's
that's
great.
In that Wired interview with Mark Cerny, he said, let's see, hold on. Dominic Mallison, global head of research and development for PlayStation, said he didn't want gamers to be bombarded with multiple new pieces of hardware at the same time. So they are. The current PSVR headset is compatible with the new console, and they are not working on a new one at this moment.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I could still see them coming out with new VR games and whatnot. So
the games
yeah. So I'm just saying they're all over the place. They're kind of dipping into different aspects of they're really into VR. And yeah, definitely focusing on hardcore, like obviously with the console gaming. But it'll be really interesting with them going forward, though, I think, because will they continue doing the same stuff that made them successful this gen, or, you know, are they gonna pull a Microsoft and, go like, all in on subscriptions and different stuff and streaming? It's very, it's very speculative with them. It's very open, you know.
Yes.
Eh.
And it's all going to hinge upon their new hardware. But they did say that the PS4 was going to be their primary source of revenue for the next 4 years. They want people to support that market. So that's why, you're not seeing The Last of Us and stuff like that are going to be, only playable on, the new system. They're going to keep their base kind of moving and then get them upgrading as, I guess, as they go.
Mm-hmm. Which is absolutely, that's fine. That's a good idea too, especially if the PlayStation 4 games are compatible with PS5 as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which
bring the library with you.
Right, which I can't. I've said from the beginning, I can't see a scenario where that isn't the case.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
It would be dumb for any of these companies.
Yeah.
I still think a lot of this stuff's going to scale backwards too. I don't know, these ideas that we're going to get games that, can't be played on a PS4 or PS Pro. I think that's going to run into issues considering what platform they're on. But that's, that part remains to be seen. Now moving over to Microsoft. So Microsoft has pretty much gone in such a completely new direction that they have. I'm not sure what I'm not. It's hard to know. I have friends, on Twitter that I consider reasonable people. And even they're going a little crazy over where Microsoft is going. And that has been a cause of concern. And I'm not going to lie, if I'm being perfectly honest, while, I'm always of the mind, if you own it all, you can play it all. I'm wondering what their end goal is too. They came off of what I thought was a really good E3, but it was an E3 filled with lesser known and lower on the scale gaming. They have really been the ones who have now embraced, the indie community. Chris Charla has done just an unbelievable job with the ID at Xbox program. I mean, we're going to have him on very soon. Just trying to tie up a date with him, but picking his brain. We picked his brain a couple years ago, and I can't wait to pick his brain again, because from where they were at the beginning of the gen, when indie developers really shunned them, to now, to where somebody like Double Fine decides to be acquired by them, in Exile and Obsidian and these smaller studios. They've really come a long way. But it seems like, and this is where Chris is revving up. I can see him revving up. I cannot objectively lie and say I'm not a little concerned that they're kind of pulling away from the view of the original Xbox. I think that they want to hit a wide market, right? So their E3 presence this year was to a wide array of games. But it seems like even with Gears, I complained that we hadn't seen any campaign footage of Gears yet, which I'm still a little concerned about. If I'm being honest, we're in July. They're not going to show Gears campaign footage until like 2 weeks before the game comes out. You know, we're going to get Halo, we're going to get Gears. Beyond that, people were waiting for some really hot and heavy games, and what Microsoft showed was a lot of those mid grind. We like to call them AA games, and that seems to be where they're headed to try to widen out their net. The concern from, I guess, social media and from the the Xbox fan base is that they're sort of leaving them behind. I don't know if I completely agree with that, but I understand the sentiment from what I'm seeing. And of course, they're pushing very heavy into streaming, so that's going to be their, they don't care. And Phil has said, I don't care if you buy an Xbox or not. I don't care where you play our games. Buy an Xbox, wonderful. If you want to buy an Xbox, I'm okay with that. That has concerned people. So now that I've thrown all that out there to decompress, I'll let you guys get started on that. He's already picked up his beer.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
Hey, if you see me go like this and slam it on the desk, then you didn't start worrying. Nah, let our guest, if he wants to pick up on that first.
Sure. Yeah. Well, if we're going by the E3, there was some mixed messaging there. I mean, I did think that they had a decent showing, but there was some stuff that I didn't expect. There was some really nice spots, actually. Like, I was really happy when they showed off Flight Simulator, to be honest with you. I thought it made a lot of sense to show that off. I was actually pretty stoked to see that, and it looked pretty good.
That was amazing. Yeah.
And if that was all in-game rendered, like, that looks pretty good, and I'm actually pretty excited to see that. That Blair Witch game, which I'm into, like, spooky games, thrillers, and
that was a nice surprise.
That was a very nice surprise, and that they have kind of a deal with Team Bloober there. So I'm not sure if that's like exclusive or timed exclusive, but for now, and it's in Game Pass, and it comes out real soon, actually, like late
August, right? Late August.
Huh? Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. I was pretty pumped for that. I can't wait to try that out. But yeah, the whole Gears thing, it's like it did leave me kind of wondering. I mean, sure, they want to show off that escalation mode, and they have like some kind of a plan to like drop the information, but come on, you have to know that people want to see like something new and refreshing from the campaign, right? Because really, they showed off a little bit last year when they unveiled Gears 5, but they didn't show off a lot.
Yeah.
And people want, you want to see something exciting. Show us like some kind of a big like boss fight or something from the campaign. Like, that's what people were underwhelmed by. Show us something to get excited about. I mean, sure, they're excited about these new modes and the multiplayer, which is fine, but a lot of people are, they really want to see the campaign. Halo, at the end there, I was excited to see, like, a lot of the old armor appear, and like a lot of like I'm glad that they're going back to like the Bungie era kind of styling, like that. It more it has me hopeful for what's coming forward. But hey, we'll see what happens there. Right. But as far as Microsoft's overall strategy, at times I'll admit it can be a little concerning coming from them, because they used to have like all these like awesome new IP coming, and then for the past couple of years it's been like really slow. We've been wanting to see something new come from their studios, and it's just been really, really, really slow. And then the games that they have come out with, like let's say, for example, Recore. I'll just put Recore, for example. This is what I didn't like, is that they put out half-finished games. Games that were like really heavily bug-ridden, and there were sections missing, and then a year later they released definitive editions, and then it's like, oh, here you go, here's a patch for this, and there's an extra section for this. Oh, and that bot that was on the cover, oh, it's finally here in the game now. So it's, no, but it's true though. That stuff I didn't really care for, and I just hope the quality of some of their games goes up. The thing about Microsoft, yeah, they seem to be really service oriented now, for better or for worse. I know, Mike, you really like subscriptions right now, but I don't know. Going forward, it's Microsoft's in a very interesting spot because they don't, like you guys were saying. Phil Spencer has said that he doesn't care where you buy the game, so it's like whether it be on console. Now they have this push for the PC as well and play anywhere. It coming from a console space, it's kind of concerning, and I hope that they do give some love back to the console player as well. Right? Wow. Their messaging could be a lot better overall. And I know Fastback is just like waiting to get in there, just like chomping.
Yeah. Before he does, I do want to say that Game Pass is one of their shining beacons, and thanks to Game Pass, we're gonna get to play Blair Witch, Outer Worlds, every one of these,
Metro Exodus.
Metro Exodus. But... Yep. So
Wasteland 3.
Yeah, Wasteland 3, which I've never played Wasteland before, but
I'm neither.
For new genre. Yeah. A lot of the indie games are coming to it. I mean, there is a Game Pass is the shining beacon of the industry right now as far as that kind of thing. I have no doubt. Mm-hmm. So, all right, go ahead, Chris. Have at it.
Go for it.
Look, I don't have an issue with what you guys are saying. I don't. At the same time, you guys are not going around claiming, it's the end of the world for Xbox gamers, and trying to make it more of what it is. But I do get the concern. A lot of us hardcore gamers who enjoy playing on Xbox, sometimes we expect certain things to happen. Every E3 that happens, right? And definitely the last couple of years, Xbox has not provided that, type of level expectation, high expectation that the hardcore want to see. I mean, it's no lies, nothing to beat around the bush. It's just that Xbox put himself in a position where they didn't have the relationship with some of their second party deals, like in Platinum Games, with Scalebound, with Remedy. It just seemed like after Quantum Break that just went south. So that relationship that they relied on with the second party deals the last two gens wasn't there this gen. And I think a lot of that had to do with the management. I think the kind of relationship they fostered with some of these studios out there, and so kind of turning people away. You look at Insomniac and Crytek; they weren't able to get any deals with them for a sequel. Alan Wake, which
they lost now. Alan Wake's gone.
They lost.
The publishing
I think.
rights.
I think
Well, yeah.
it's.
Well,
it's
they
a
never had the
temporary-
IP. They never had
never-
the IP.
They just own the publishing rights.
Right.
But I kind of look
But
at
how
that.
good is that if,
I kind of look at
if
it
you
like
don't own
this,
the
that
IP
they-
and you can't get to an agreement with,
and they don't,
with
I don't think
Remedy?
they own the IP of
Yeah.
Sunset Overdrive either, right?
No, they have
Same
published.
kind of deal? They have
I think
publishing
it's like
rights.
publishing. Yeah, that's why we haven't seen another one. Is that they're
No.
waiting pretty
Right.
much Insomniac from them.
Well, Insomniac now is that they're Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you look at like you brought up about Recore, right? That was kind of rough. I think it had the idea of the game
hmm
was a good concept,
Oh yeah.
but it didn't come out what people were hoping.
Well, that was
you know,
my issue. Is
Yeah.
like people are genuinely excited to have these new games come out from them, but their
Yeah.
quality control, it was like they're just rushing it out. It's like, guys, we don't mind waiting a little bit longer, just get it done. Like it's just weird. When a game is buggy and glitchy, okay, sure, there are some quirks, you can't get to everything, but man, there was some stuff in that game that I just remember that was kind of broken. And I mean, I did enjoy it overall, but yeah, and then there was just stuff genuinely missing.
But like I was saying, but because they their relationship with the second party studios, it's kind of went south. They didn't really have much control on how these games were being developed, right? And so when it came down to that time to these games ready to come out or so on, they were not in a good position. I mean, look at the deal with Crackdown. That had a lot of struggle. And they don't even own that studio either, even though that's their own IP. So things needed to turn around. I think Phil had to bring everybody back onto the drawing board and really look into everything that's going on. Like, why are we having all this trouble? And he had to go out there and one is redo the foundation for the first party, and then and they did that. They acquired studios, and then also he's been out there working, trying to rekindle that relationship with the studios out there, to maybe not say, hey, we want this exclusive, but we would like to have some of these games on our console too, on the Xbox. So we've seen some of that. He's been out there working with Japan and all that studios. But sometimes you're just not going to get everything that comes on Sony, right? There's just Sony has that relationship with some of those studios. It's like why Yakuza can't seem to come to Xbox, and who knows what's going to do with the Final Fantasy VII remake.
I think that one's coming.
I'm pretty sure.
I think that one's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody leaks something with a box art like that, and then it doesn't. It turns out not to be. That's a whole different.
Yeah.
The official an official Xbox account does not accidentally tweet that. They might not be ready to announce it, but there's no way that that's something that their social media guy said, hey, I'm just going to throw this out here and see if anybody watches it. No, that's not how that works. So I think that's coming.
Yeah. And, I understand people are like, they gave Alan Wake back. And in fact, I wouldn't mind seeing them, also works with something with Insomniac and say, here, if you really want to do Sunset Overdrive sequel, here you can have the publishing rights too. I think Xbox needs to focus. They need to go back and focus on the first party, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at where Xbox has been struggling, they've been shining as far as the Game Pass. And that is a huge thing that's going forward. That's something that Sony doesn't have. So there's a strength that they have there. But if people need to realize that for Game Pass to be successful going forward, they have to have that first party content come in. They can't just rely on indies and some third party deals. Games like Metro Exodus. Wait a few months later and wait for it to come on Game Pass. They have to bring in some strong first party content to attract people to the Xbox brand.
Mm-hmm.
Which they want to bring that, and like you said, they want that brand to be on mobile. They want to be on PC, and I don't see them abandoning. They're not abandoning people on console. They're just what they're doing is they're adding PC. They're evolving and growing the PC Xbox brand, and then they're going to bring that Xbox brand to mobile. So, you just have that choice. Where do you want to play these games? And they recognize that there are multiple gamers out there. And it's like Project Jeff said, what is hardcore? To us, to some people, you have all types of hardcore gamers. You have hardcore big AAA gamers, that's all they care about. You have hardcore indie gamers, which the indie is one of those. You have hardcore, maybe Western RPGs and hardcore RTS guys. So Xbox looks at that and say we need to grow our diverse group of games genre, and let's attract games that attract PC gamers. What gamers like to play on PC, and I still think they're going to focus on still going to bring great games to console. It's just that it's going to take a while, and like I said, the struggles that they've had, they put themselves in a position where they just can't show the content that's going to come out, as far as from these new studios. But they're in work. I mean, we've already heard that Rare is already working on the new IP. Compulsion, Playground is obviously, whether it's Fable or not. Obviously. The new one,
the
Initiative, that obviously they're going to be working on something pretty big. Ninja Theory is already working on something else. So the games are going to come. It's just that they ain't ready for, like we are. We're ready, or a lot of the hardcore, like that. Like I was saying, they were hoping to see a tease of that, but Xbox was not ready, and maybe those studios were not ready to tease it for whatever reason. And
well, and that's an issue that they gotta work through. I mean, look, this is where people are looking at, and it's hard. It is a hard thing to argue. Yes, we love games like Sea of Thieves, no doubt. I mean, again, I haven't even put as many hours in as Peter, Nate, and Juan, and I mean, I'm sitting next to on screen here. I'm sitting next to a pirate legend, so I understand. But give me an honest opinion, Peter. Sea of Thieves, or Horizon Zero Dawn.
And they're two completely different games.
I understand. But if
I just based it on how much fun I've had,
how much time you put into it,
how much fun I've had, it's going to be Sea of Thieves.
And see, that's what I'm saying is that if you look at all three, Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation, they all bring something different to gamers, right?
They do.
Because Sony is not bringing games like Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2, or that are bringing consistent content that are keeping gamers there, right? I mean, you look at
but at the same time, Sea of Thieves and State of Decay haven't moved the needle for Microsoft's hardware sales, which is why they're changing up their strategy, because they need to find a new place to go. But I guess where I was headed with this was, Game Pass is awesome. Without Game Pass, which is the other issue here, is that the folks that have Xboxes aren't buying these games. They're not buying these games, and that's what happened with Remedy.
Look at Alan Wake. How much did it sell?
It didn't.
Just 3 million. People just, I don't know what it is.
Xbox, phenomenal game.
It's what I said on Twitter. It's like we have 10 million people crying, but only 3 million bought Alan Wake.
Right.
I mean, something doesn't add up. I mean, I don't know what it is.
I don't either.
If Alan Wake was on Game Pass back then maybe it would have done better.
Maybe.
It was on there temporarily, and people got a taste of it.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, they gave away Sunset Overdrive in games with gold, and it's in Game Pass.
Yeah, and people still didn't download it.
Right, it still failed, and it was and let me tell you, that game was phenomenal.
But here's the thing: if that game if Sunset Overdrive would be on PlayStation, would it have done better in the sense of perceived better, not necessarily done better. I don't know what it is.
I don't either.
I mean, I'll be honest. I think Sunset Overdrive's a cool game, but it wasn't the game that I thought that would push the hardcore to be like, oh, well, I got to have an Xbox for this. I think Rise.
I think the only types of games that will actually do that is, like the God of War kind of games, cinematic kind of, things.
Which Rise was. Rise was that game.
Rise was that.
But again, that's another issue that Xbox
but
had.
remember, it's like people crying. It's QTE. Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that was
I don't know what it is.
One.
It's
Yeah, and so the thing is, Xbox, they don't have a lot of control on these games that some of us are like, we want a sequel from these games. Yeah, they have publishing rights, but it doesn't mean that whatever Remedy, let's say they went in there and they proposed Alan Wake 2, right? And at the time, whoever was in that room with them, we're not interested in that. That didn't sound good to us. Now, whether or not that game would have been good or not, we don't know. We'll never know.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they showed the data, about the other Alan Wakes and this and that. And it's like, look, you're asking me for this amount of money, but,
What gets me, though, guys, it's the teasing. Like, I was really pumped for Quantum Break. And then right off the bat, like, there's certain sections where they're just teasing Alan Wake. Like, it's everywhere. Like
that was Remedy.
It's in classrooms, like sketch. Like it's hard to ignore. It's hard to ignore that, and it's like, come on, like Remedy. Like it's either they had, they have something in the pipeline, or they're really trying to send a message across. And hey, I love Alan Wake. I have like the limited collector's edition from the first game. I bought American Nightmare. I think I got all the achievements in the original Alan Wake with the DLC. Like I just, there's something about Alan Wake that I just really appreciated. It was such a cool game. I love the atmosphere of it, and I don't know. I really have to get on Microsoft for not like doing more with that IP with Remedy. But hey, now that Remedy have total publishing control over it, you know what? I still want to see an Alan Wake regardless.
Good.
Yeah.
But let me confess, I never bought any Alan Wake.
Yeah,
I've played them.
Wonderful.
Thanks to like Games with Gold or whatever other opportunity. I mean, I didn't buy it. I enjoyed it, but I didn't go out and buy it day one.
Hey, that's fair. Not you can't get.
And there are probably more people, and that's why we only got to 3 million people who actually. Who knows?
Yeah, and I mean, another thing too. Xbox for a while there, beginning of this gen, for a while they had the middleman guy. I forgot his name, but he's the one that Phil had to go to get funding and get this. So people have to realize that Xbox was in a position where, they were, the guy that was saying, well, how much money do you need? Well. No, we don't want no Sunset Drive 2. We don't want Alan Wake 2. Those games are not games that bring us money. So I'm sure they were saying, well, let's focus on some multiplayer type game. That's why they focus on Sea of Thieves. They focus, that's why State of K2 came out, because State of K2 went up to him and said, "This is what we're proposing. We got future DLC coming in,
they bought Undead Labs.
They ended up buying them, but when they proposed, hey, we want to do State of K2, I think they did a good proposal, and they convinced, saying, hey, it's not just a one game type deal. We have multiple deals that be coming, and to attract people to continue playing this game, right? And that's the type of games that Xbox wants on Game Pass too. They want single player games, but they want games that keep people coming back to them. And Sea of Thieves has done a great job with that. So it's kind of like, how would you know if if all Xbox was going to be just like Sony, and they were going to focus on just all these big, huge cinematic AAA type games graphically, and they didn't come out and bring games like Sea of Thieves? It's a shame.
But no one's saying that.
How would you know? No. I'm saying, but I'm not saying you guys. But I'm saying, but people out there think that those games don't belong, and I believe they do. And Xbox was in a better position to bring those type of games. Like Cuphead, Ori, right? They went out there and they supported those. They brought those over. Like you said, Xbox Charla has done a great job with that and bringing some awesome indies over. And now they're going in Game Pass. A lot of them. You look at people overlook Game Preview, and that has brought over some decent games that were on PC. And a lot of people don't, and not like PUBG, but that game was still successful on Xbox. It did bring attention to Xbox. Even though, the other game the Fortnite, I like to call it, that was not me. That ended up taking over as far as the Battle Royale. But it's not like Xbox wasn't out there trying to bring stuff to the Xbox Live and for gamers, and while they were still struggling and trying to retool everything, because we gotta be real. They are not ready. Even though people were hoping things for this last E3, they are not ready. When you just announced 7 studios and then you add an 8th within the year, there is no way. And at least I will say, at least we're getting Outer World and Wasteland 3 and Game Pass.
No, it's just,
and
that's
to me, that's big for me. So I may look at things differently as other hardcore gamers who were hoping to get like a Fable 4 and maybe a teaser from Playground, teaser from Initiative and Ninja Theory. They're working on something else. Compulsion. I thought Compulsion would have been ready to tease something, because I thought they've been working on We Happy Few for a while.
Yeah.
And that's out, right? And Vader, you enjoyed that. My daughter, she just completed that.
We Happy Few. I did enjoy it. I thought it had a cool world, but they had to address a lot of things like
definitely,
and stuff. Yeah.
But thank God for Game Preview.
Oh yeah.
The feedback that they got, they went back in there and took that feedback and they adjusted those issues. So I give credit to Xbox for bringing some of those things to help them keep gamers interested on playing on Xbox while they were struggling. But I think they're putting themselves in a position where they want to bring people. They want people to subscribe to Game Pass. We're gonna get those games. We're gonna get the content. Now, how good they're gonna be, I don't know. And I agree with you guys also on Gears 5. I'm not concerned about the campaign, and it seems like they're not concerned about it, right? Because I really enjoyed that trailer that they showed last year. They showed some campaign gameplay. So
hundreds of jobs.
I think they're looking at it, and Rod made that decision. Like, hey, we're going to go real big on multiplayer modes and so, because it seems like that's what they're going to be. That's what's going to be feeding Coalition and Xbox and Game Pass, right, for the next few years. Is that these multiplayer game modes is what they're banking on, right?
Well, and look, that's where the industry, that's where gamers are going.
And it is, because if you look at let's look at Halo and Gears. They've always had good campaign. The stories and are part of those games, but the multiplayer on those games have been huge over the years. They have big followings for the multiplayer part of it, and so Xbox needs to feed that crowd. And so, unfortunately, this last E3, they decided not to throw the campaign players, single player gamers a bone. So
they could have spent 5 minutes and show something.
They could have. I agree. That was a mistake. That was a mistake. But I look at it as
it's not that it's not a third party or second party studio where you have to pay on a dime to come over. I mean, it's.
And I don't think anybody was looking for a 25-minute demo. I think people were just looking for that vertical slice just to show,
and we also have campaign or single player.
But see, I think where they're leaving, where people feel like they're getting left behind is, instead of taking a second shot at Recore, right? Instead of taking a second shot at Quantum Break. I think the idea behind Recore was pretty cool.
I agree.
Imagine taking, one of where Sony got it right was they took a game like Uncharted that wasn't great. I mean, it wasn't fantastic Tomb Raider was a much better game than Uncharted. Much better game. And instead of just saying, all right, well, this game only sold, X amount of copies and it really didn't do what we thought it was going to do, we're just going to throw it aside. They didn't do that. And what they ended up doing was creating a monster franchise. And I'm not saying Quantum Break could become a monster franchise, but they looked at it, they said, well, it didn't sell very well, and so they stuffed it in a closet. And what ended up happening was, it took a second-party studio, it took a studio that was a tremendously close partner. Like, we had speculated that Microsoft would buy Remedy at one point. They were so close with Remedy, with Alan Wake, and with the bulk of the Max Payne series, even though that was Rockstar, Quantum Break, and then. They had the next game in the wings, and they wanted to do a Quantum Break too. And now, not only are they multi-plat, but their marketing and their DLC and all their stuff with Control went to Sony. I mean, they completely.
Yeah, but here we can't blame Microsoft for everything. That's what people do. And Microsoft is like, oh, Remedy. We don't know the story. What if Remedy says,
But it's
we don't want to be bought by Microsoft. We don't,
I'm not saying no. I didn't mean about the purchase of from Microsoft.
No, but
I'm
it's
saying the Quantum Break thing. Remedy said they would have loved to have done a Quantum Break 2. They said that.
Of course, they said that. They want to make money. I mean, they're going to say what they want to say. So it's
if you look at,
we don't know what.
We're not in the room, so this conversations takes place. So it's easy to say we want to make Quantum Break 2, and maybe Microsoft would have said the same thing, but they don't because who knows?
Well, let's be honest. Control is about as close to Quantum Break as it can be.
I mean, everybody hated Quantum Break, and everybody's going to love Control.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well,
they could have just slapped up a new title, and everything will be They put on the different rose-colored glasses. I don't know what it is to people.
I don't either. But that was, the IP was the difference between that and Alan Wake is Microsoft owns Quantum Break. They own the IP. That is their IP. That they wanted Remedy to make the game on their IP, and that's I think where, and people, I get both sides of the Bleeding Edge story. So, Bleeding Edge is the game that Ninja Theory wanted to make, right? But people were going, well, why aren't you making another Hellblade? And I understand that because that's that game in gamers' minds. If you think Ninja Theory, you don't think Kung Fu Chaos, which actually was the first game they made with Microsoft was was an Xbox game. You think Heavenly Sword. You think Enslaved, which just came backward compatible. You think Hellblade. You don't think about... And so here's Ninja Theory, who just came off of this really giantly successful, story-driven, unbelievably immerse game. And they're making an Overwatch clone. And so people went, what the hell? And I get it.
No, they already had an Overwatch clone. They just need to finish it.
Right. I mean, it's and again, I get Ninja Theory's side of it. This is a game they wanted to make, just like Sea of Thieves is a game that Rare wanted to make. I don't doubt that once that Bleeding Edge could be a successful game, but it's not what people were hoping for. And I think if you had I think what people at least were looking for is a mix. Give them a large scale game that's different, that's new, and then you can pepper them with everything else. But you're not getting that. Everybody knows Halo's coming, and that's not even coming until next year. Everybody knows Gears is coming, but there isn't another big Quantum Break game. There isn't another big heavy hitter.
Well, I think that's why they have the initiative. It's
right, but there's no game coming out from the initiative anytime soon.
Right, because it takes time.
Right.
I mean, they're still hiring.
Oh,
look at it.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, it's like just,
They're all hiring.
They're all, right.
They're all hiring.
Nobody...
And they're not hiring like, we need to have some, some, what do you call it? Some low grunt workers to,
right.
fill in those slots. No, they're hiring like bigwigs still. Heavy hitters.
Right.
I mean, Mike, I agree with you, but we have to be realistic that, yes, people want another Hellblade type game and the other games you were talking about, but Ninja Theory is not ready to. They already said they have other games in work, right? But this game, the Bleeding Edge, the reason why it's coming out is because they were pretty close to already. It's already coming out soon, so obviously that game was already ready to come out, and so all they needed was to be able to focus on that, and so now they're able to hire people. And so that's why we're getting that game next, because it's already ready, pretty much. So, I mean, what are you going to do? Let's, they want to bring it out. Let's see how it goes. But in the meantime,
they want to play with more than their 20.
Yeah, but in the meantime,
20 other employees.
Yeah, but in the meantime, they're working on. I'm sure. I wouldn't be surprised. How do we know they're not working on the next type of Hellblade? That's my question.
Because they haven't shown
it. So in the meantime, people are going to push that narrative as well. Well, there's Xbox. They ruined Ninja Theory. They're not going to come out with these type of games. We don't know that. That's the problem. We don't know. So we can't sit there and shame Xbox one way or the other. All we could do is wait. And in the meantime, we're still getting some decent content coming in Game Pass. You still have all these great games coming third party, and this is my issue. And I'm not like getting at to you, Mike, or anybody else here.
It's okay.
I'm just like overall general as far as for me, the way I look at it is that people are so concerned about why aren't this and that coming, but in the meantime, you have all these great games already now that you can play, third party, with Game Pass, right? To play already on Xbox, and while you're waiting for these games to be in development and waiting for them to finally announce something, and in this day and age, like you were saying, the way E3 is not the same anymore, right? So maybe you look at Sony, Xbox, and Nintendo are not going to only rely on E3 to blow their full load in one point of the year. So we have XO19 that's going to be in London. We can't say for sure that who's in London? Ninja Theory, you got Rare, and Playground, right? That's their backyard. It would be pretty awesome if one of them or all three say, "Hello, surprise! Look at this tease." in their backyard. That'll be huge for them. So we don't know that, and so I see it as we might get peppered with some cool stuff throughout the year. We got Inside Xbox, and then of course Sony has what did they call it?
PlayStation Experience.
Well, they got but we don't know for sure. That's a for sure thing, right? The PSX.
Yeah, they're not having one this year.
That's correct. They're not.
They're not. No. They said they're not.
Yeah, they're not.
They still got State of Play, and then of course you got Nintendo, like what they did. Was it today or yesterday? Hello, here we go. You know, they didn't even reveal the light at E3. They revealed it here just recently. So my thing is that I think gamers need to be calm. Like, you know, look, I understand you didn't get what you want at E3. I don't see the concern there, because we see Xbox. We've seen what they've done to build up their first party. Game Pass is huge. They want people to subscribe to Game Pass. So I do believe games will come. They're just not ready for it. And this whole deal with Remedy and Insomniac and stuff like that, it's like I said, they didn't have control. They didn't have the relationship that they wanted to with those studios. I think it was time for them to move on and focus on what they can control.
See, I think with Remedy, they had Remedy for whatever they wanted. Mm-hmm. I disagree about Remedy. Remedy, like Sam Lake was always talking about their relationship with Microsoft. Like
he might have a good relationship with Microsoft, but what about the rest of the people behind Remedy? Because he's the head of Remedy. He's the head, but he's not the only one that makes decisions for Remedy, is he? I mean,
they
have a board. You know,
he is the president of Remedy.
He's the soul.
He is the man.
Well, he might say that in public. He wants to be the good guy. He wants to sound like, hey, I tried. But behind closed doors, we don't know exactly what is being said between them. And here we are. Control is not coming to Xbox exclusive. It's going multi-plat.
Right.
So, well, you know what? I'm fine with that. Let's see how it does. Let's see how a Remedy game does go on multi-plat. And I hope it does well. And if it does well, we'll probably get an Alan Wake 2 multi-plat. But you know what? You can still play it on Xbox. So I don't see the concern about it, honestly. And hopefully, I kind of hate exclusive deals. I don't like it that Sony's able to get these exclusive third-party deals or exclusive content. It's stupid, but it is what it is.
No, I agree with you there.
You know, because some gamers just can't afford. They can't afford to own all consoles. You know.
Absolutely.
Well, so that begins. So, and that's where I'm getting at with this too. Is that not everybody can afford that. So if you're looking at, if you're looking at Microsoft and you're looking at Sony's, their trajectory and what they're saying to you as a gamer, then simply saying, well, I can just wait and play these little games, while Sony's going, well, you know what, we got these better games coming out. We've got Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. We forgot about that. Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, there's no doubt. No, you're definitely right on that. Like, those games are huge, and Sony's gonna make a lot of money. They're gonna attract a lot of people to it. And it is what it is. I mean, but, right now Xbox can't compete with that right now.
No,
and
people are legitimately asking if they can compete with that at all. And I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. We've got.
Well, I mean, you're right. As of right now, nobody can definitively say, "Yep, Xbox. They're going to be able to. They can bring out some bangers." And they're going to be able to be right there with the Sony first party. You can't say that for sure.
No, this is a company that used to put out games like Jade Empire and Mech Assault and.
Do they? Let me ask you this: do they own those IP?
Yes. Well, Jade Empire. Jade Empire. I don't know if they owned it or not. That was a BioWare game.
it's a complicated thing, but see, that's a frustrating thing with Microsoft, and they have like a really nice back catalog of games that people have been wanting for them to just come back to. I always bring up Mech Assault because Mech Assault was very successful on the OG Xbox.
Yep.
It was like one of the first Xbox Live games that like people were really into, and people are just clamoring for more Mech Assault. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if another one was because Phil's been talking about mechs over the past couple of years off and on, so I wouldn't be surprised if a new Mech Assault game
even
or
if it's Mech Warrior, they own the Mech Warrior IP as well.
Yeah, well, it's interesting with that too because Mech Warrior 5 is on the horizon for PC release soon, and I'm not sure if that's been delayed or not, but I know it should
10th.
be coming. Yeah, so
really? That's PC only for now.
Yeah, it's
for
Piranha
now.
Games.
Yeah.
But recently, like I think it was back in December, apparently Piranha has been going back and forth with Microsoft about something that they were not able to discuss. So,
what about the studio that didn't they acquire the studio that redid Age of Empire? Because I thought that was a group of gamers who got together, who remastered some of the old Age of Empires and
Forgotten Realms or whatever.
I think they did a remaster. I think we're getting the remaster soon before Age of Empire 4. And so I thought the studio that did the remaster, I thought they kind of acquired them, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know.
Yeah, one of the developers used to be, which is funny because they were in the building next to me when I worked in Timonium, Big Huge Games. I actually know. I don't think they're around anymore, but I know one of the co-creators of that studio personally. They closed up. Yeah, they closed up in 2000, and then 2012.
All right, because that was the Rise of Nations developer.
Right. They did Rise of Nations, Catan, and Age of Empires 3, and they did Kingdoms. They co-developed Kingdoms of Amalur as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't remember who. I know what you're talking about. I don't.
Yeah.
It's not Ensemble Studios, is it?
It was something like Forgotten Empires or Forgotten Worlds or whatever.
Yeah,
working on.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think they announced them at Gamescom.
All right, hang on. There we go.
A couple years ago.
Are you Googling with Bing?
Yeah. Oh, I got my points for the day. Don't worry.
Okay.
Forgotten Empires is an independent full game developer focused on Windows, PC games, and mobile apps.
Yeah.
So they're working on Age of Empires Definitive Edition, which came out. The first one came out in 2018. Age of Empires 2 just has a release date of 2019. Age of Empires 2 HD Rise of the Rajas is December 19th, 2016. So there's one coming, and it's coming out this year. The Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition on Steam and Microsoft Store. But that's it.
Yeah, Age of Empires 4 is pretty off.
And, I see a lot of concern out there, too. People are like, well, why is this game only on Game Pass PC? And it's like, you can't really blame Xbox off the bat for that, saying you have to look at the studio. The studio may be only in a position to develop for PC only, right? Mm-hmm. And at this time, they're not ready. They're either not going to say, or they can't develop for console and PC. So they're going to develop some games. Sometimes you're going to get studios that we're developing this for PC. That's it. But it doesn't mean that it will never go to console. It's just that, as so I mean, but going back, like you guys were saying, you were bringing up some great old IP. I know Phil has been interested in trying to revive some of those old IPs. So maybe there is some stuff in work behind the scenes that maybe they have to find ways to do that. Maybe some of those games are still somehow attached to other people that maybe they have to buy some rights or agree to some kind of contract or whatever. But I've heard other people who have been that love the games from the Xbox OG and the early days of 360. But the problem is that in those days, Xbox, instead of acquiring some of those studios and say, hey, why don't y'all come join Xbox and be our first party development, team? All they did was throw money at these studios and say, hey, just make this game and put it on Xbox. And they had no control, maybe they had publishing rights to most of the games, but they just didn't own those games. And maybe right now, even if they do, you still have to find someone who are capable of making those games and updating them to today's standards, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, if Xbox had focused on developing their first-party studios back in the day, they probably owned BioWare and maybe Obsidian back then, and so on, and they wouldn't have gotten themselves in a position like they did this gen. It is what it is. I mean, I think Sony's first two gens pretty much did the same thing. They relied on third-party exclusives and having all these third-party deals, and they didn't have a huge studio at the time. But last gen, they ended up going back and saying we need to really focus on our first-party content, and here they are. They've been successful, and we're getting Sony's brought some great AAA exclusives here at the tail end of their PS4. So and Xbox wants to be in that. I think Xbox wants to be in that position going forward. The competition brings out the best in people, and thank goodness that Microsoft decided to, let's focus on, let's invest in Xbox. Phil did a good job probably talking to Sadaya and saying, this is my plan, this is what I want to do. And said, all right, here you go. You're the main guy. We're going to get rid of the middleman, and we're going to give you a nice fat check, and let's see what you can do. Because obviously Sony kind of did the same thing with PlayStation, right? They made PlayStation a huge brand of Sony.
Oh, they did. Very much so.
And they've been successful with it. So, and they're going to continue. And I think we're all in a good position going forward. There's so many good games out there. If you're not getting what you want from one platform at this time, I'm sure you can find something from another platform, to enjoy while you're waiting on, So, I don't know. I have no complaints. I do want things to happen, but I think we'll be fine. That's my whole thing, and I just don't. I don't see no reason why people have to create drama.
Well,
to make it more than what it is, and it's like they're armchair developers and armchair gaming executives and developers. None of us, like us, we're here. We're all talking about it. We're hoping and we're speculating and all that. I think, but we've all made good common sense, and but in the end, hey, we're still gamers. We still enjoy our games.
No doubt.
It's not doomsday for us. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no I agree. I agree with you guys. I don't have a problem with your concerns.
But I look at it.
You guys are not being drama queens about it.
No, and I'm also looking at this from, and I've heard, thankfully listening to TXR, I get a good sense from Vader, who hasn't jumped in a while, but he's, I know we've all been soaking you in here, Chris.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
I know I've said a lot.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
I'm also pulling back and looking at. Remember, I'm an old journalist guy, so I'm looking at it from an industry standpoint as well. And you know, and I'm looking at it from an old Microsoft fan. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, off the top of my head, you know, we just mentioned Mech Warrior, Midtown Madness, Project Gotham Racing.
Yeah.
You know, hell, Lynx. They had a dynamite golf game that they gave up on.
Yeah.
You know, there are, you know, we're assuming that Playground Games is making Fable. I hope they're making Fable. But the folks who made the first three Fables, the first three Fables, they shuttered. They have to get another place to make Fable because they shuttered Lionhead. So you know
Is that Xbox's fault or is that Lionhead's fault?
that they were owned by Lionhead. So they were forced to make Fable Legends, which I still to this day think would have been a better game than people gave it credit for.
Mm-hmm.
And Phil just canceled the game and shut them down. And
Was it Phil?
Yep.
You think it was
That
off?
was Phil.
But
Because Don Matrick was gone by then.
I agree that the game should have came out in game preview to at least give people a chance. Let it see what it could do.
I was in that beta. I was in that beta for a long time, and I watched that game get.
I know you and Mamacita were. Did you, Invader?
Yeah, I was, and I still have it downloaded on my.
Yeah, me too.
I can't bring myself to delete it.
It's a beautiful game. I mean, I can see why people would be taken back by it because of just, you know, it's different from how you know, how the traditional Fable game was. But yeah, I mean, at least I mean, I thought it was still pretty. I thought it was interesting how it was, though, especially when you had like you know, somebody controlling a villain and you were able to, like, you know, spawn enemies and whatnot and just do all kinds of stuff. I thought it had an interesting catch, and I was kind of curious to see how it would have played out in the end once it came to the mass market. But, you know, that never happened. And yeah, I mean, you know, when Phil took the reins, you know, he canceled. Yeah, Lionhead was gone with Fable Legends press play. Bit the dust, and they let go of
Twisted Pixel. Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, you gotta think, you know, they, you know, both Press Play and Twisted Pixel, you know, they were making some games too, and you know, they would have filled some holes in Xbox's lineup, but
have they made a game since?
No. No, Twisted Pixel may as well be dead.
They've done some VR stuff.
Have they?
Yeah, actually, they got this like spy game out right now.
No, hold on, let me look.
Part of that could have. Yeah, part of that could have been that those studios, whatever was going on, and those studios, like what Platinum with Skillbound, maybe Phil and them were not happy, and he didn't have the full backing of Microsoft either. So they're probably like, "We're not giving you any more money for this stuff." So
yeah, there's some stuff going on there, you know.
Yeah.
About
I will forever believe that there was some foul play with Scalebound.
Oh yeah, and whatever was going on with Lionhead Studio, maybe it was a combination. You know, they were being mismanaged. Maybe what y'all played was all they had, and you know, maybe they were like, "Where's the rest of the game?"
Well,
what else
no, because that game was the cool part about being in that tech alpha, whatever it was we got to watch that game get built. So it made and back me up here, Peter and Invader. There was a time in that development where it was almost like they flipped a switch, and the game turned like into. Remember, it was always, you know, most of the game was, you know, was chicken walled out. You remember, you walked up, you couldn't get anywhere, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you could get to a whole bunch of the rest of the world, and then like the next day was like this whole chapter of story, and you're like, holy crap, here comes the game, and it was exciting. And people were playing it too. It was that I never had an issue finding a group to play with.
No.
Yeah.
No. And yeah, what was it, that town, that central town you were in? I think I remember it being like extremely gated off at one point. Then yeah, it really opened up, and like you said, that was the cool thing. You saw this, all the changes being made, and yeah, no, towards the end, it looked pretty cool.
I mean, hearing y'all talk about it, I didn't get to jump in on it, but it's kind of weird to.
Mamacita and I,
what happened?
It's a sore subject for Mamacita.
I remember her talking about it.
We might have to bring it up with her next week. She's going to be on with us next week. We might have to bring it up.
I don't want to hear her cry about it.
So to bring a box of tissues.
No. Yeah, I mean that. Who knows? Who will never know what happened behind closed doors? Why they did that?
But take Rare too, and we'll kind of finish up on that because we're 2.5 hours in. I know it's 12 o'clock here.
Yep.
Vader's like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, right. I heard about Mike and his 3-hour podcast. Rare has this collection of games that, I mean, where is the next Cameo? Where is the next Banjo? Banjo is coming to the Switch before it comes back to the Xbox. Where is Conquer? These are games that people are asking for and they're not getting, and that's where people are getting concerned. And instead, it's great that we're getting Wildlands 3, Wastelands 3 and Outer Worlds and stuff like that. And it's great that Ninja Theory's working on this bleeding edge game, and it's and all that's fine and dandy. No one's saying that those aren't games that shouldn't come out. They should. And Microsoft has shown a great penchant now for these smaller games that only Nintendo right now is the other company that seems to care about them. So,
the indies.
But a large scale Banjo-Kazooie game could really be something that people are another Conquer game that's got that. I will never forget that reaction at E3 when there was still Press Play and there was still Project Spark and Conquer, kind of showed up on the screen. And everybody's like, Conquer!
Yeah, another one that died. It's Project Spark.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe that.
Oh my goodness! I couldn't
believe that when I saw it. I literally I didn't jump, but I was just like, wow! I definitely shouted something. I was like, oh my god, it's Conquer! Who would have thought that?
And then all of a sudden he's like, oh no, there's just going to be Conquer and Project Spark, and everybody went, F you, Microsoft. It was a lot of collective middle fingers.
The worst thing though was when it actually came to fruition. It's like, oh okay, so we're releasing that because it was supposed to be like a collection of episodes for it, and then it only turned out to be one. It's
right.
like, oh, thanks Microsoft.
Yeah. Here, build your own Conquer. No, it does. It didn't even look good.
No.
So.
No.
Well, they might be exploring those, but maybe Rare won't be doing them. And maybe they got something else that they want to do. Maybe they just want to move on, and whoever the studio that's doing Battletoads, maybe they will be the ones doing some of these going forward, bringing these back for them.
I get the feeling Playful might be handling one of their IPs, but I could be mistaken on that.
Yeah.
I think I heard some word on the street about that, but who knows? It'll be interesting to see once Banjo-Kazooie hits Smash Bros. And the response from that, and to see what Phil and the rest of the Microsoft execs say about that. Because to me, I don't see how you greenlight something like that with Nintendo and then not give something to the Xbox.
That's what I'm saying. What are they getting out of this? And speaking of Playful Studios, I mean, even the new Super Lucky's Tale is not even coming to the Xbox, and that's where it landed. That's where the first game landed.
Yeah, that didn't look very good.
So that's what I'm saying. Is that there are so many things that I get it. And again, I'm the biggest Game Pass advocate you'll ever find. It's not even close. But there are things that Microsoft seems to be doing and looking at and pushing that it just I don't know. It just seems like they're going, well, the folks that got us here, sorry, this is not, you're not our audience, and that
I mean, I
be,
agree. Yeah,
that's what they're showing. That's the hand they're showing, and what Sony's showing is, oh yeah, those guys who bought that PlayStation 1, who bought, Uncharted on the PlayStation 3, who supported us, who got us through that PlayStation 3 era of $5.99, all that. Guess what? You guys are our audience. So, and you know what? I'm sorry, Coop. It's just this is what the messaging is, and you can't deny it. I'm actually it's the most interesting thing of all, right? Is the next gen, the next console I'm gonna get is probably just gonna be the Polymega, so I can go back and play my Saturn games.
So maybe the Amico.
Or the Amico. Well, the Amico, that's only, what is that, $200? The Polymega is,
I don't know what it is.
That's true. I'm excited for the Amico, actually. I mean, that could be where I'm headed. I'm sorry, guys. It could be a
What are you sorry about?
Well, it's a bunch of half glass empty talk tonight. Well, there's a reason for it.
You're the glass half empty. I'm the glass half full.
Well, sir, as long as you're gaming.
Well, of course.
And so while you're gaming, all you can do is wait, and if Xbox brings something out you like,
the links,
and then you make that decision. Oh, okay, well let me go play this on Xbox.
Yep.
Or maybe you buy the next Xbox and play that game.
Well,
I don't know, but
I'm content with the Xbox. Like again, Game Pass. Like again, like I have a backlog from like last year that I still need to finish up. Like I'm gaming, guys.
And I'm excited by Xbox.
Guys, I'm content. I love my Xbox One. I love the games that I've been playing. I'm really happy. Just the thing is, there are genuine criticisms that I feel that we do have to put forward and talk about, and and just like be like, hey, Microsoft, you need to address this. Sony, you need to address this for the next PlayStation. Nintendo, I mean, these things are good, but why couldn't you have done this, and so on? Because if we don't talk about things and just let them get away with not doing certain games, or ignoring certain IPs, or just making the same mistakes, we need to talk about these things so that they know if they hear it, right? And so other people can spread that message, because the fan base, the hardcore guys like us, that's what we talk about.
Yeah, and we have a different agenda than some of the other places out there. I mean, nobody here is selling their Xbox. No one here is going, I'm only going to be a PlayStation gamer from now on. No one is doing PC. That. Or a PC. Right. I'm not building a PC to go play PC games. I'm not saying that. Again, I'm also looking at this from a perspective of the market and where Microsoft is in the market right now, and why they're moving in this direction, and whether or not moving in this direction is going to move them in the market, which I don't have a confidence. I think they're going to right now remain as kind of a middle of the road, middle ground, maybe even third place company, because Sony's or Nintendo's pretty much gonna pass them up this coming year, especially now with the Switch Lite. They
did that last gen.
Yeah, that doesn't mean the Wii caught fire.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I'm selling my Xbox. It doesn't, but it does mean that there are things that I have seen as an owner of every Xbox that is not the same as it used to be. Nobody can argue that this is the same Microsoft as they were in 2001. It's just, you can't make that argument.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. The entire Microsoft has changed.
Yeah.
Years they have like completely changed.
And that started with Satya Nadella taking over, who was a big global cloud guy. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm not suggesting that Banjo-Kazooie being DLC on Super Smash Brothers is a bad thing. I think some of that stuff that Phil is doing, where he is getting buddy with Nintendo, I think is a good thing. I think it brings there's no doubt. But they're doing it at the expense of their own fan base who are asking for these games. Everybody's been asking for it's not like only 5 people have been asking for a Banjo-Kazooie game. It's not like 5 people and 5 people alone have only been asked, you know, there's such a small niche people are asking for another Conker. Every time you hear about Rare, everybody, you know, where are these iconic characters from Rare? That's what made Rare. That and Star Fox and Donkey Kong, but you know.
But here's the thing: they make another Conquer game. How much is it gonna sell?
I don't.
I think you know.
I don't
the
know.
only game that's gonna sell bonkers if they make a God of War kind of game. Period.
Conquer of War.
Conquer of War.
Actually, they could do a spoof on that. I mean, they've been wanting to do. There was like all kinds of stuff with Conquer that Rare wanted to do. It wasn't like getting people and stuff.
Conquer could be that.
Fast and the Furious, that racing game.
Yes.
Development. Like, they had so many puns with Conquer.
If anybody could pull that kind of game off, it would be a Conquer. So, you know, and so people are, you know, and it's not that they're just asking for it this year. They've been asking for it since the Xbox One. I mean, people were expecting those big franchises to be on the new console, and it's not. But then all of a sudden, oh, hey, Banjo-Kazooie is going to be in Smash Brothers. Well, that's great. That's great. That is a homage to Nintendo. But what about, you know, and the Xbox game community is going, well, what about us? What are we getting? And Phil's like, well, here's, I don't know, here's Outer Worlds. Well, okay, everybody else is getting that too. What else are we getting? Well, here's a new Horde mode for Gears. Okay, well, where's the campaign mode? Well, we'll show it to you later. So, I mean, I'm just saying that I can see where some of this angst is coming from. I've got a little bit of it, especially with the Gears.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you're right. There's a group of people out there that feel that way, but I don't feel that way. I don't think Peter feels that way. There's a group of us that look. I look at it. When I look at Xbox, I don't go that far back like some of you guys, right? When you guys are looking at Xbox, you're thinking about the past and what you enjoyed from the past. I don't think that way. When I jumped on Xbox, you know, it was Halo that got me in, right? But then after Halo, you know, after I got past the whole Halo hype, I still played it on the side, but then I started looking at all these other games. Oh, look at this and look at that. And when Xbox started bringing in the arcade stuff, here comes State of Decay. I look at all these new games that I've never played before, different types of genres. I'm like, oh, cool, let me try this. So when I look at Xbox nowadays, I look at what they're trying to do is bring multiple of types of games. They can't bring everything. And yeah, like you're saying, yeah, it'd be great if they bring a Conquer game and all this stuff. But I don't think that you know, I'm not sure how that speaks to everybody though. But we'll never know unless they bring it, right? So
well, they have the studio. They still own the studio that can make it, I guess.
Yeah,
the other
and so maybe them put a little bit of Banjo over on the Switch and bring up some of that hype to drum up some hype for it and see where that goes, and maybe they have something like that, looking at doing.
Right.
But
the hype's over on Nintendo, where the hype doesn't reach that doesn't actually affect an Xbox gamer unless you have a Switch.
True, but if people, let's say people are playing the Switch, and that the Banjo character is pretty popular, and so the Xbox has said, all right, cool, we got a Banjo game coming out, now you can come over and play it on Xbox. So maybe putting it out on the Switch kind of help drum up some excitement for people who have never played the Banjo games in the past, and now they're like curious, like, well, I like that Banjo character, let me go play this new Banjo game on Xbox, and maybe they subscribe to Xbox Game Pass. And so, what I'm saying is that yes, why are they not bringing this or that? And I think they put themselves in a position to where Game Pass helps them to be able to bring, not only develop new games with the new studios going forward, but also look at bringing some older IP, like now we're getting Battletoads, and now that's going to be in Game Pass, and that's something that it looks like they're going to expand on over time, right, with DLC. So now they can say, okay, now Battletoads did well, let's look at a Banjo, let's look at a Conquer, let's look at some of these old IP from that were on the OG, and I think Game Pass gives them that backing, and as far as funding and stuff like that, to be able to take chances on that stuff and bring back some old IP. But for them to get there, they have to get their first party going, and they have to keep growing Game Pass. So, and going out to mobile and PC, it's just going to help, improve that and be able to bring the chance of those games coming back, But I just can't do everything, And like you said, we got backlog.
We do have backlog.
Got a backlog. So if every game that you ever wanted to come out on all the systems at the same time, every year, every quarter, it may be out, but when are you going to find time to play it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or be able to afford it? You know what I mean? We have to be realistic. These games, I don't know. We're not everybody's going to be happy. So some of us who watch the E3, I'm not saying I'm completely content. It would have been nice to have seen what these new studios were working on, but I'm satisfied with what's coming out in Game Pass for the rest of this year, along with Fallen Jedi and Borderlands 3 and so on. That games that I'll pick them up, but man, I'm gonna struggle trying to find time to play them. So my main thing is, why are people so concerned about what they want? They want this, they want that, but at the same time, we can barely find time to play the games that are out.
Right. But if they don't get the games that they want, they're going to go elsewhere. And that's where Microsoft's got to. That's when we stepped out from beyond what we play. And
when you say elsewhere, you mean
why were so
another platform?
Like if Microsoft would go away, I game somewhere else. I'm not invested in.
Well, right. That's what that's what I'm saying, is that if you step away from that, Microsoft still as a business has to get that market share to stay in that business. And
what if they don't? And they say,
what if they say
we stop making
Sega
games?
comes back? What if Sega comes back and Xbox goes out?
Sega,
you're still going to be able to play. You're still going to be able to game, right?
Play Sega or play PlayStation or wherever. Apple.
I'm not playing on Apple. I'm not. After that Mac Mini nonsense I had to deal with, I ain't playing.
Never say never. Nobody ever thought they were going to be playing the console from Microsoft either.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why my glass is always half full, because I game wherever I feel like and whatever is available. I'm not invested in Sony and PlayStation or Microsoft Xbox. I don't.
Yeah, that's why I'm not concerned, because there's so many options out there for us to game on, and if one goes out the door, well, someone else ends up coming in, You look at Google; they're trying to make a play with that Stadia, and right now it's not very attractive to us. But who's to say in 5 years they're going to be a big player because they got all these exclusive deals with studios.
Yeah.
And
they have so much money they buy Sony. PlayStation.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know. I mean, that's
Sony Stadia.
They might.
The Play Stadia.
Play Stadia. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
Stadia now.
But as far as we're not downplaying your concern. You have legitimate concern because you enjoyed playing on Xbox. You enjoyed what Xbox brought.
Well, and they've also keep in mind they also got me to spend $1,000 on their hardware.
Exactly, but now,
but like it's say Microsoft goes away. It's not that all of a sudden you can't play any games.
No, and that's not where I'm at. Where I'm at is, and where I'm looking at it from a business standpoint too is they have a new console coming out next year, right? They have Scarlet. They need to sell Scarlet on the back of something, and it can't. And don't get me wrong, I am thrilled.
But what if they don't? I mean, then stop worrying too much about that stuff. Worry about bigger things.
I'm talking. I mean, we're having a discussion here based upon,
Yeah, I know, but it's
at the end of the day, I'm not selling my Xbox. But for the purposes of our discussion tonight, I'm also looking at it from the point where they are asking me. They asked me to spend $500 on the Xbox One. I did. Then they asked me to spend $500.
No, they didn't ask you. It was your choice.
They asked me to buy it. They asked me. Yes.
You got an email or a Skype call and say like, "Hey."
No, they didn't come to my house and say we want to play. What I'm saying is, when I say they asked me to buy it. They said, "Here is our product. Here's what runs on it. Please buy it." They didn't just put it out there and go, "We don't care if you buy it or not." They want you to buy it. So they did that. Then they wanted me to buy an Xbox One X because it was bigger, better, played the games better, 4K, all that stuff. And I did. Just like Sony said, "Hey, I got this PlayStation 4 here. I'd like you to buy it." I said, "Okay. You got the Uncharted games. I'm down."
But at the same time, you haven't played all those games either.
This is Scarlet 2.
Right. So
there's a PS5 Plus.
Right. Which are out less than 5 years from,
I mean, it's...
I didn't buy a Pro.
They're following the phone model.
And Taylor, do you have a PlayStation?
No, I do not actually. At this point, I'm just waiting for the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
May as well, right?
Right. Well, that's why I didn't go to a Pro. I figured, that would be my next leap. But maybe not. And my next leap might be retro.
Yeah, which is fine.
If you're happy with that, then you're playing games and...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At the end of the day, I get what you guys are saying. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I haven't sat here and said you guys are wrong. You're not.
Yeah, no.
From there, we have to, who's going to spend that? Am I going to spend another $500 next year? Am I going to, am I going to keep?
No, you wait another 2 years and then you're going to spend another $500.
Right. And if I'm somebody walking into a store and I'm looking at the types of games that are coming out on both, where am I spending my money? And that's where Microsoft's got to at least be able to compete in that market. But
what if they don't? Then you buy the PlayStation 5 or
the Stadia
or Stadia, whatever, or your Apple TV console doohickey.
I'm not buying an Apple.
Vader, are you looking forward to the next gen Xbox, or you think you have the X, right?
Yeah, I do have an X.
So, because I like I know Mike has brought it up. It's like, and Xbox, like you said, Xbox is not sitting there saying, "Man, you got to buy the next console. You got to buy the Scarlet," because what they're saying is, you will be fine playing on the X, right? So do you feel like you have to jump over to the Scarlet, or you know?
Well, I have to see what the big
definitely.
difference is before, because I can't just say it without seeing what the defining features are. Right before my eyes, and what difference it makes on the games. Otherwise, I'm just buying blindly. I would never do that. It was like I need to see that moment where it was like 2013, where I saw. Well, for example, why I bought the Xbox One games, like, at launch, I'll get this Roma game Rise, which, it looks, graphically breathtaking and nice animation. Just looks very, very like a really cool game. Or Killer Instinct, a game that, I used to play at, the arcade and whatnot, and that's being brought back. I'm like, wow, and, so many other things. I was like, okay, well, I have to get that day one. That looks awesome. The games that are coming with it. And then the reason why I bought Nintendo Switch, I'm like, oh, Mario Odyssey. Dang, that looks like a pretty sweet game. It reminds me, a nice 3D Mario game. I'm totally on that. And, a whole bunch of other games, Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8, and so on. So, I need to see the reason and what values in there for me before I make that commitment.
True, but then like we're here talking about, bringing up, Sony's doing this and doing that, but they have not been able to. Why haven't you bought into Sony though this gen? Because they've already brought games, right, that everybody claims like you got a bone to play this for.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But it also, it also comes into finances too.
Well, true, right? Definitely, yeah, definitely. But you know how some people are like, well, I'm going to sell my Xbox because they got games on PlayStation. So you could have done that.
The thing, I just decide to wait it out with Sony. Yeah. That's all. I do like. There are. Don't get me wrong. They have a bunch of games that are interesting to me and appealing. Games like Horizon Zero Dawn, Ratchet and Clank, and so on. But if I'm able to play that on the PlayStation 5 going forward, then that's definitely going to be a big factor for me. Yeah. And I can say this right now. Yeah, I am definitely interested in the idea of getting a PlayStation 5. I mean, I still need to see it and what.
Especially if it's back in Pat. Like, it has to be back in Pat.
I'm thinking it will be too.
Yeah, I don't see a scenario where it isn't.
Yeah, especially I bought the PS4 Pro because I want to play Spider-Man and Days Gone, and there's a couple games I want to play. But when I look back from 360, I enjoyed playing games on 360. But for me personally, it is, yes, I got into Xbox because of Halo, but over time it was just like I'm just playing all kinds of games I want to play, and it wasn't so much about exclusives. So when the Xbox One came out, they announced it, I was going to get it no matter what because I enjoyed playing games on Xbox, and it wasn't so much because of exclusives. So I knew that there would be games, whether they're exclusive or third party, and so I don't know, I don't think that way. When people are so worried about exclusives, if you enjoy gaming, just game. And sometimes you got to choose a platform that has the type of games that you want to play, because like you've been playing with Xbox this whole gen. They haven't brought everything you wanted, but you've found games to play, right? And at the same time, like you all said, we do have to speak up. We do have to give feedback, and we have. I think we all of us here do. We have in the past gone on to those the feedback forum, right, for Xbox. You can create a deal and then you share it out and tweet. But you know what? Sometimes I don't see people making a big deal. I don't see them voting on a lot of those things. All they want to do is make a bigger deal, make videos and make all this drama tweets and stuff, so on, about what they want from Xbox. But at the same time, are they actually going to the right place and giving that feedback to Xbox?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what Sony is bringing is what they started bringing since last gen, and they've been successful, and they're going to continue doing it. But at the same time, they don't bring everything that some gamers want. So it's just a matter of choice. And I think, you know, yeah, I think we're all in a great position now going forward, and we have so many choices. So, you know, I don't think anybody should really be concerned and feel like, you know, Xbox is going in the wrong direction, or, you know, like I understand like Jago, some people who are into physical, and they're concerned, you know, with the whole streaming and, you know, going forward, you know, definitely digital is taking more and more over on physical, and as streaming is coming into play, we're gonna probably see less physical out there, you know, because developers are gonna be like, you know, it's much cheaper and easier just to, you know, develop and put up digital instead of having to worry about all this physical marketing and stuff, you know. So eventually that will go away. So it is what it is. But I don't know. I mean, like when we jumped over to the Xbox One, I didn't jump on it day one. It was Titanfall bundle that got me onto the Xbox One. I just, you know, the price, you know, that's a big thing too. Like going into this next iteration or next gen, I think the price is huge too. So let's, you know, and I doubt it's going to happen, but just imagine the next Xbox and next PS5. Imagine if they were $399.
Yeah. I think the market's been
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just saying that I'm not. You know, I don't think that'd happen. But if they were to come in at $399,
that'd be insane.
That would be a lot of people be like, "Yep, I'll buy it. $399, that's good."
Oh,
but
yeah.
$499, you're gonna. I'll be surprised if the PS5 is not $499. But so you know, at $499 is a lot of money. So you know, you got to really got to add some extra value to jump in on that. But you know,
and that's my.
But no, true. But and it's like Peter, like he's also bringing up too. Hardware does not make the money, bring in the money so much. It's the software. So if Xbox is looking at it, it's like we're going to sell these games on Game Pass. They're going to be on console. They're going to be on PC. They're going to be on mobile. So it's not so much. They're going to just give you another option. The next gen is another option. So you can still buy it. I don't know if the X is when that's going to stop going in production. So, you know, going into we'll see what happens. Is Xbox going to still, you know, I know Sony has said that they're still going to rely on the PS4 for the next, 3 years?
3 to 4 years.
So does that mean they're going to still keep producing them? The you know, PS4 Slim and the PS4 Pro?
Yeah, probably.
Along with the PS5?
Yeah, probably.
So I'm curious to see now that when Xbox came out and they said, well, we got the Scarlet. And everybody was saying, oh, they got the Anaconda and the Scarlet. And now all of a sudden, it's just the Scarlet. So I'm curious to see what, you know, along with the Scarlet, are they going to still be producing the X? And are they going to kind of change the look of it a little bit? I don't know.
All right. Well, Invader, I want to give you the last word on this, because it's almost 1:00 in the morning. So
yeah,
we're gonna hear Chris's Mustang.
Sorry, I know I've been ranting.
That's all right. It wasn't my fault tonight, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all good. Well, I mean, I just want to say that, you know, I'm very hopeful on honestly of like the future of gaming, and when it comes to like Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft, like they all have different plans. What we suggesting, they all have different routes they want to take with the future of gaming, and specifically with Microsoft, like we do criticize them at certain things, but we have to keep them humble, and we have to keep them honest about some things. Yes, I mean, it's not all about us, but at the same time, there are a whole bunch of franchises that they have in their, I guess you would call their, in their portfolio, that really do deserve to come back. I mean, what was the point of buying Rare and then just letting these treasured IP that other companies would sell their souls for, that fans like demand nonstop, like Perfect Dark, Banjo-Kazooie, Conquer, like, and so on and so forth.
It's all about the connect, sir.
Well, well, we say that, but hey, Connect Sports sold a lot.
It was it was a number one game for a long time.
I hate to say it, but yeah. But moving on from that, it's like we only bring these the stuff up about Microsoft and their old games is because yes, we do want the new stuff, but it's like it would be nice if they brought back these treasured franchises like a MechAssault, like a Crimson Skies, because they were those memorable experiences that rekindle our love for gaming, right from the get-go for the original Xbox. So it'd be nice if they showed, some passion for their original IP.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got like a great services right now, and I can still play a bit of a waiting game with them with their new studios that they bought. I'm looking forward to the Outer Worlds. And guys, I am pretty hopeful with the gaming as a whole. Nintendo has some really good games coming out soon, Sony as well, and I mean, I would love to. I just can't wait to see what the next couple of years has in store.
Yeah, I agree. And I've heard somewhere who said, those who hope and still don't get what they want, they're not as disappointed, right? But those who expect are the ones who get disappointed.
Well,
so
I'm hopeful.
Keep hoping. Keep hoping
and
gaming, and you never know.
Well, I keep reality in check as well, right? Can't get everything that you want, but at the same time,
Yeah, it'd be nice, but yeah.
Mm-hmm, exactly. But yeah. I mean,
good points.
Very hopeful. Very hopeful, guys.
Okay.
I definitely look forward to some of your streaming. What are you? You're not. I know you stream We Happy Few. What else have you been streaming? The flood.
The Sinking City. I did. I posted some gameplay. Yeah, you'll see some more gameplay. Actually, there should be some uploaded tomorrow as well. Some side quest stuff.
I remember sharing your deal out, I think, to somebody that was interested in it.
Yeah, it's interesting if you're into like horror, survival, actiony, kind of games where you're like kind of doing investigative work too. It's creepy, but a little slow at times. But yeah, it definitely has its quirks and flaws. But I like it. It's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
what's the next game for you after that?
I bought a game on sale a couple weeks ago that I really wanted to play. Maze, about the talking corn or something. I really want to play that.
See, there you go. Just keep on gaming, sir.
Fun little aiming. Yeah, exactly.
Keep on gaming. There's something out there. There's always something out there.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys want me to tell everyone where they can find me?
Of course.
All right. So, yeah, guys, of course, you can find me on the TXR podcast. Again, we're on a little bit of vacation mode at the moment, but on YouTube and Twitter, TXR podcast with Tim Dog and Megatron Southbound. And hey, you never know what else is around the corner. But yeah, you can find us there. You should see us on sometime in August. And you can find me on my very own YouTube channel, Invader Gaming, and I'm very active on Twitter at Invader_1986, where I interact with these gentlemen and everybody else who hits me up, and I look forward to talking to everybody about gaming and the passions of gaming and so on and so forth. Guys, it was great being on NLG finally. It's great, wonderful place. I absolutely love the show. You guys are fantastic, and I can't wait till next week's show.
Thanks. I appreciate that. And as we do with everybody, you now have the open invitation. If you you get the hankered for it. You're like, I'm gonna go on and talk to Chris and Peter and Mike. You just
I have 4 hours, so
yeah, because those guys are really passionate. They just keep talking and talking.
I swear this isn't the norm. It's been a long time since we've gone this long without it being a.
This is what happens when you put a big subject in the topic.
Yeah, sorry guys. I'm a little sleep deprived here, and my throat's a little sore. But don't worry, guys, I'm still here.
So no, it was a pleasure to have you. And TXR is a great show. I know we were happy because we had Southbound on a little over a month ago. We were happy when he, maybe it was 2 months ago when you guys were first coming back. We were really happy about that because it was one of the great Xbox shows that did things the right way, and got a lot of respect for South. He's great people. So it was great when Chris said, "Yeah, Invader wants to come on." I'm like, really? Okay. So I was like, oh yeah, get him.
Invader's been a good friend because he's been on WDFC, he's been on Dazcast, and he's part of that family. He's in a DM with Dazcast, so I enjoy interacting with Invader. He's just you're a good guy all around, man. I just I enjoy your gaming opinions. So you're not a drama queen, and you're just a real gamer.
You're absolutely
right. I appreciate that.
I'm a drama king.
Yeah.
But
no. Daz, I think he's got you beat there.
What?
Sorry, Daz. He's asleep. He ain't paying attention. He's not listening.
He's sleeping.
He'll listen later.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So I think it's time to get the hell out of here. Thank you, everybody. Thank you guys for hanging out, man. Indie Gamer hung out the whole 3 hour 12.
Indie Gamer's awesome,
man. Wow. And because I know it's got to be 4 or 5 in the morning over there. So
hey, we need to get him on at some point.
That's happening. Yeah.
Especially when definitely would like to get him on when we, especially when some of these indie games start dropping.
Yes, no doubt.
I'd love to have his intake on that.
And of course, Coop and Jeff, who had to make a ham and turkey sandwich first. Dirty J, who I think he had to go earlier. Siberian.
Stinking Corpse. The Corpse Cast brothers.
Yep. We love this. Monkey Punch was here for a while. Yeah. Jago didn't show up tonight.
No, he did.
Did he?
He did, yeah.
Where?
Yeah, he dropped.
Did I miss Jago?
Yeah.
I'm scrolling back. Oh yeah, he did. Damn.
Yeah.
He did. He stopped in for a minute.
He said something about Yellowstone, so he was probably went to go watch Yellowstone.
Gotcha. So, yeah, these are our core, man, and they're great. Everybody knows I love them. So, and all right, so we're gonna get the hell out of here. Peter, Chris.
Love you, brother.
Love you too.
Hey,
apparently I'm the drama queen though.
That's okay.
So it's all right.
You're the drama retro gamer.
There you go.
All you want to do is play retro games.
Yes, I'm good with that. And you're awesome too, Indie Gamer. We are definitely having you on. Now that I know you can hang for this long, oh yeah.
Good.
So
we'll get you on the 3-hour tour. Don't worry.
Yeah. So once again, don't forget to check out TXR when they come back sort of mid to late August on Sunday night. And of course, we'll be back next Thursday night here at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And with our special guest will be Mamacita herself. We have that confirmed. And then we got some other stuff cooking. Not to worry. But till then, man, everybody have a great week, great weekend. And as Chris says, man, keep it gaming. So play on, gamers.
Guys.
Keep it gaming. Less drama. And make it light on the drama.
Keep that glass half full.
Oh, yeah.